That's right, creepy little girl. We're talking about our top 5 favorite movie sequels of all time, and we'll be back after our theme song. Hit it.
5 Dudes Reviews. 5 Dudes Reviews. 5 Dudes Reviews. 5 Dudes Reviews. Yeah!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the 5 Dudes Reviews podcast. You can find us anywhere podcasts are available. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Tonight we are talking about our favorite movie sequels of all time. Dudes, in your opinion, what makes a good movie sequel?
To me, I think it's if you do it the right way, it's a continuation of the story from the first movie. And, you know, usually you have to either expand the universe, bigger budget. If it's a horror movie, it's usually got to be bloodier. It's got to like up the stakes in some way.
For sure.
Yeah.
Almost like it enhances the first one.
Right.
It bleeds out of the first one, and the second one just drops.
If it's done right, it can.
Yeah.
I would say
continuous.
up the stakes definitely is a good
That's a good
adjective.
one. Yeah.
For
Description.
me, a good sequel also, it just, all those things you guys mentioned, but really a good sequel, it has to at least come close to the original, because usually a lot of times the original is like the one you measure up to,
right?
So the sequel has to at least come close to that to be considered a good sequel.
That's true, because 99% of the time you're never gonna come close. Maybe close, but you're not gonna beat the original concept.
I'd say 90% of sequels don't look like
They
come
fall
close to the
flat.
original.
Oh, I would say less
95%.
than, yeah.
I mean, some of them changed like the perspective of the story too, where it's like a different kind of genre, or
That's true. It can go in a different direction or a different tone.
We've got a monster now. We've got 100 monsters, or something like that. So.
Or the first one didn't explain this. Let's go into depth that sometimes you don't really need, or can kind of ruin. To me, it can kind of like taint the original if they've modified or changed things from the original movie that weren't in place.
Well, for sure, there's a lot of movies that get sequels that probably didn't need a sequel.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that.
There's more than a handful.
Like an example is, I absolutely loved A Quiet Place, but I'll see it part 2, but
you don't think it needed it?
Well, I feel like the cool thing about that was they didn't give you a lot of detail on the creatures or where they came from. It was just like
I didn't see the movie, by the way.
Well, I'm not spoiling anything. It was just like it was in newspapers on the walls. So like the way
It's A Quiet Place.
Yeah, the way it ended was such a cool last shot for me. So I can tell that they're gonna do flashbacks and they're gonna expand that world. You got to like show the creatures more. I don't know. Like
It's gonna take some
I
of
just
the
don't know if it
mystique
was.
out of the first one.
Like it won't take away anything from the original. It's just I don't know if it's necessary. I hope it is. I hope maybe they do add cool stuff.
2 movies right now I can think of that they're really old now. They're from the 70s, but that really didn't need sequels, and it was kind of early on in sequels. Was The Exorcist 2? I feel like The Exorcist is the kind of movie
I was
terrible.
gonna say, yeah.
Agreed.
And then Jaws does not need a sequel.
I didn't even finish
No.
that one. The second Exorcist, I
It's
didn't
bad.
even finish it.
It's
Yeah.
I saw it when I was younger.
those-
I don't know if I completely understood it because it was weird.
Would you say A
It's
Quiet
so
Place is
weird.
kind of like those movies where it doesn't need a sequel at all, really?
It left such a definite ending to me that
Yeah.
you didn't really need to. What are you going to do? Like Brad was saying, like, what are you going to?
I mean, you can expand it because they didn't in the first one. But to
Yeah.
me, it's like Michael Myers.
that's
Like
what-
they didn't really give this ton of a backstory, which was what made him scary.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Right.
That's
sometimes
what
know
that's what led
everything.
you
Right.
to keep watching the. Like I'll watch the first Halloween like 1,000 times. I don't care how many times it's on TV.
Yeah.
I'll
Right.
watch it because the rest of the movies to me didn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing with The Quiet Place. After you watch that, you're like, okay, what more can you add to it?
Yeah.
That it's already
I know another
there?
movie, and they won't ever make a sequel, but I'm just throwing a movie out there that doesn't need a sequel. I loved Inception. Doesn't need a sequel.
No.
Does not, and they'll never make one. But
I hope to
glad,
God they
but
don't.
Right.
no,
It's
Christopher
enough.
Nolan wouldn't let it happen. But
All right.
I also feel like the problem with sequels sometimes is that they wait too long.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure they do.
Let me guess.
capitalize on it being fresh in people's minds as opposed to waiting 10 years and it kind of just losing its luster, and it sucks.
Without giving away, I'm not going to say what movie it is because it could be one of our picks. But I can think of one sequel where it actually they did wait about 7 years, and it actually was good. But
Well, Billy, I think I know.
I'll mention it if we pick it.
Yeah.
if any of us pick
Billy,
it.
I think I know what movie you're kind of alluding to as well. Is it Zombieland 2?
Well, yeah,
I was
didn't
gonna
enjoy
say
one.
that.
Shit, I forgot about that.
I was gonna
That's
say
like a
But
lot.
I would say probably the clearest example of that would be Dumb and Dumber.
Oh,
the
gosh,
sequel
yeah.
to that.
Right.
Anchorman,
yeah.
Anchorman's
Which
another one.
to me, all those movies failed.
Bad.
Like I like Zombieland 2 more than the other just
Yeah, I haven't
mentioned,
seen
but,
that, but
it's
I'm
fun.
gonna
It's
still
not
watch
it's
it.
not as it's
I love
it's-
Woody Harrelson, so I'm definitely gonna
right.
check it out.
It's just like Billy said, like you kind of waited too long. Like if that was made a year or 2 years after,
yeah, they like basically made like for instance Anchorman. Like once you saw that, you're like, oh, this is fucking hilarious.
Right.
You're quoting it every day with your friends or
Right.
whatever, and blah blah blah. And then the second one drops like 40 years later. You're like, wow, this guy like that's not even
It's
funny to you
just
anymore.
Do you think
it's-
Jeez.
I have a question.
Like
Do you
the
think it's
character just totally burnt out at that
Right.
point? You're like, eh.
Do you think it's worse when a sequel waits too long, or when they don't wait long enough when they make a sequel like a year after the first one?
Well, it
What do you
depends
think's
on the
worse?
genre, I think.
Well, what's worse?
Because like Ace Ventura, they made the second one like a year later, and it was
Right.
shit compared to the first one.
I like this.
Yeah.
or like
Sure,
a
sure.
or like
To be honest
a
with you.
It had funny scenes.
I
but
thought it was hilarious.
or like a Back to the Future 2 or 3 where they shoot them back to back and then
that's
just kind of
different.
stagger it.
I think that's different, but like
There's a movie I want to talk about later. I don't want to because I don't know. I don't think it's going to
Yeah.
be on your list.
Okay.
Actually, something I guarantee will be on all of our lists probably. There was a new movie, a sequel that was just made that changes things that I'll remind me I
Okay.
want to talk about.
okay.
I
Well,
like. I
okay,
like also
so-
like.
so-
Hold on a second. So I like sequels that have a good evolution and also can feel like a serial, where
I love
you know
serials.
it's
A
fully.
chapter.
What
Lucky
what
Charms,
serials you
bro.
like?
Oh.
So it's like it feels like a
Tricks.
fully realized story. There's like an arc to what's going on. So I like those kind of sequels.
Like a next
Well,
chapter.
you know,
in the story.
okay, so what is the difference between like having a sequel and then I feel like in horror this is really prevalent where they will do sequels and then they'll do prequels and then they'll do like a whole new retelling of it, kind of like the Chainsaw series,
Right.
And where it's been so done to death that you just want it to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean reboots are a totally different thing than sequels. That's like a whole nother.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
is shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
all of this is because you had a successful first film or one that, like Austin Powers, wasn't successful in the theaters, but gains,
Cult following.
on home video, and it's like, oh wow, like we're gonna have numerous sequels now because
Right.
it did so well on home video.
Or
True.
I think definitely more in the last like 25 years, I'll say. A lot of movies like the sequels are planned, like Lord of the Rings. They knew they weren't going to fit it all into one, so they knew.
spread it out.
Yeah,
so it's one movie
So
cut up into.
There's no way the story could be told in one
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, so it needs a sequel. I'll
Harry
say.
Potter.
Yeah,
something.
yeah, those are like
Some of those horror movie sequels are cash grabs.
Yeah. Now they are.
They have a big audience.
comedies
you know,
too.
so
Though I
Yeah.
feel like they make a lot of comedy sequels that are just cash grabs.
people will go see them. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah,
People are supporting.
We got.
that.
By the way, real quick, we got to do a worst sequels to follow up this one, like later on down
I
the
agree.
line. Because worst
There's
There's a
sequels
good
are
list.
fun.
There's a good list there.
Yeah.
Huge list. Yeah.
All right, let's get started. My number 5 sequel of all time is probably, man, it's so good it could probably be number 1. It's The Godfather Part 2.
Nice.
It's everything you wanted in a movie. To me, I love The Godfather number 1, but I mean this one is almost better than the first one.
Yeah.
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
It's great storytelling. Al Pacino. I mean, you get to see young Marlon Brando in the Robert De Niro character. It's a great story. I mean, these are movies I could sit down and just watch. They're so well done, so
Yeah.
well made.
Yeah.
To be honest, I like 2 better than I do 1. To be
Yeah.
honest with
I
you.
think a lot
Yeah,
of people. do.
I agree.
I love Part 2.
I feel like this is one of those sequels that it's a companion piece to the first one. It's almost like you have to watch 1 and 2 together. They're meant to be like kind of like one movie.
Like I said
almost.
earlier, where it kind of bleeds into the next one.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only number 3 was any good.
Oh,
Right? That would have been
With
awesome.
Andy Garcia. Oh,
Yeah, not good.
no.
But anyway, yeah, I mean that's everything you want in a movie. It's just great
Totally.
storytelling and it's beautiful to look at, and there's so
100%.
many.
Also, I think The Godfather Part 2 that's pretty much. I think that was the first successful sequel ever in Hollywood,
And you know what? It probably is.
and it
dude.
won
I
Best
wouldn't-
Picture.
I wouldn't be.
That's like I don't
wouldn't-
think that's ever happened.
I wouldn't be
since then.
surprised.
Yeah. Usually
Well,
sequels.
I think Debbie Does New York was the biggest.
Oh,
first
There might have been
biggest
sequels
sequel.
for it, but that was the
Yeah.
first big and well received sequel.
That
I
got
think.
like 3 boners
Yeah,
out of 5.
okay.
Remember?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, honestly, that could probably be number 1 on a lot of lists. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's a great film. Obviously, I feel like everybody's seen it, so you know what it is. And great flick. Brad, what's your number 5?
My number 5 might actually beat the original. It's called Citizen Kane 2.
Yes, I love that movie.
Have you guys seen that?
It was called Rose. Bud.
Yeah, it's excellent. I highly recommend it. No, seriously. I feel like most of our sequels are probably from when we were younger, childhood maybe. So I want to bring something kind of up to date, which is something I just saw about 2 weeks ago.
Oh shit.
2019, Dr. Sleep.
Wow.
By Mike Flanagan, based on
Nice.
Stephen King's novel. I can't stop thinking about this movie, like, as all of us were Shining fans.
Huge Shining fan.
It's such a treat to King fans and Kubrick
I'm
fans.
surprised this made your top
Dude,
5.
I
Like,
can't stop thinking. Like, I want to. I
Too.
said in our mixed bag, which was our best of 2019. The theatrical cut is 2.5 hours, and the director's is 3. I want to go back and see the 3-hour cut. Has anybody seen this movie?
No.
That's
And I'm so bummed because I loved the fucking Shining. The Shining
Yeah,
is
right.
I wanted to see this
Right.
in the theater.
And I'm so bummed that I haven't had a chance to see it, man.
But see, this is the problem: is like all of us love horror, all of us love The Shining, and none of us saw it in the theater,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a success.
you saw it in the theater.
I was
though.
I
so
didn't.
bummed, man.
Oh, I
No.
thought you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh shit.
No,
We were
that- I-
I think we were planning on going or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
I think we had one, and then it fell around. Like I think the problem.
It came out around Thanksgiving or
one of the
when-
one of the problems was like this should have been released in October to kind of get some of the Halloween fans to go see this movie. And
Yeah.
Sure.
again, like all of us, like we love horror, we love Shining, and like none of us saw it. So
Bummed, dude.
like
I swear I thought you saw it in the theater.
no, I didn't. I
Wow.
just saw it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But I feel like that's the sad thing is like I'm all for a big budget studio movie if it's good, and you want more of these if there's you'll get more if they're successful. And
Yeah.
like none of us saw it.
Dude.
But
It didn't flop though, right? Like,
it didn't flop, but it didn't like smash
didn't-
records. No,
yeah.
it didn't do that great.
And do you think it has a lot to do with the fact that people are not wanting to go to the movie theater anymore? People are more happier to watch fucking Netflix or
I think so.
Amazon or
I mean,
I really
whatever.
think so.
I'll be honest. Like when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Hold on, this has like Kubrick stuff in it. Like they're directly tying it
Yes.
into The Shining," which I thought like this actually is a great idea because it's going to get. You know what? Maybe it's a generational thing where like younger kids haven't seen The Shining.
I was just gonna say maybe it's what Billy mentioned and they waited too long. Maybe it would have been more.
Yeah, maybe.
more effective 10
It might have been more
years ago.
popular if it had been made like 15 years
Yeah.
ago. even.
Yeah, but like, okay, so I don't know if you guys know. I'll just give like a little summary.
That's
So
fine,
basically,
no.
it's like Danny Torrance. He was the young boy in The Shining who had like the issues with Jack Torrance, his dad, trying to kill the family at the Overlook Hotel. So it's basically he's grown up. He's an alcoholic like his father. He drinks to kind of like forget those things and also to block the shine because he has all these voices still coming through. So something happens, like he's dealing with his alcoholism. There's a girl named Abra who he finds out has
Cadabra?
Abracadabra. You've seen this.
Damn it.
So she actually like has more shine than him. Like
Wow.
she's more powerful.
Wow.
Some people shine.
Some people don't. Yeah. There's an actress named Rebecca Ferguson in this that plays Rose the Hat, which is excellent. She's so good. But yeah, I can't, there's so much stuff I want to talk
I wanna
about that
see
I
it so
can't.
bad,
like the
dude.
way that they bring certain actors into this movie. To please the Kubrick fans, like the last 30 minutes was so much fun for me, and I know
Wow.
you guys are gonna love it. But I know King.
can't wait to go see
King
it.
I have a
didn't-
question.
King didn't like the Kubrick movie, and I feel
No, he
like
didn't.
Mike Flanagan ties all this stuff to. It makes sense to the King fans.
I have a
Cool.
question.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is the Blu-ray going to have the theatrical version as well?
It's got both.
Because I'd rather see that one first.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do too. So I
Yeah.
watched that. Now I want to watch the directors. But
Okay,
like,
yeah.
like I feel like now the only thing like is when we were younger, you would buy the VHS or DVD. Is like if people buy the Blu-ray or buy it on demand or digital, it's like if that's successful, maybe those more of
Yeah,
those movies
well, for sure, yeah.
will
Yeah.
get made. But
I think some movies even nowadays make more money at home than they do in the theater. But
probably
they're
yeah,
still
like George
considered,
said, like people might just not get out to the theater as much anymore.
But then, yeah, but
you
then
know what-
Endgame just was like
What's funny is
in summer and made
Yeah.
like gobs of money.
Amy and I went to go see Star Wars around New Year's.
Yeah.
And I thought, even like last year and the year before that, we did the same. We have like this thing where we go watch a movie. Dude, there was really no one.
There was
in the
no one
movie
there.
theater, man. It was really, and from years before where we would go do this, dude, the theaters were packed. Like you couldn't even. Luckily, there was assigned seating, but seriously, there was no empty seat in the house. In the past year, and then the year before that, where it tapered off.
Do you think
and then
it's-
this last year, dude, there was maybe 30 people in the movie.
Do you think
It's
New Year's was
amazing.
on what Tuesday this year? Do you think that had something to do with it?
I don't know.
It's like 3 years
maybe.
ago. It was on like Saturday.
Who knows?
I don't know.
I have no idea, but people aren't going to the movie theater.
I mean,
think.
obviously there are hits that like people, Bad Boys did well.
Endgame, like I said, it was
Endgame
like-
did great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this is maybe more of a. It's not a jump scare horror movie, so maybe it's a little more like a mature movie, like for maybe
More of a suspense
Yeah, so like
thriller.
the audience it's going for is like
Older.
Also, I don't-
staying home.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but it might have gone. They might have released it like right before a big movie came out or right after.
I don't
and
think
it
they
got
did
lost.
though, did it?
Maybe I don't know.
We'd have to
Again,
look
I
at the
just I
schedule.
wish it would have been released in October to get people to go see a scary
No,
movie.
the original Shining was released in June. It
Which
was a summer
dude,
movie.
that one bombed. Like that
Yeah.
was not a successful movie.
No, actually, it was a hit at the box office, but critically got panned.
no, I don't think it.
It made
was-
like 85 million or something, or 100
I
million.
don't think it was that successful.
It was like number. I want to say it was number 3 or 4 at the box office that summer. It was
Yeah,
a
I know.
hit.
I know it was not.
That just goes to show
It
you.
just wasn't well
classic,
received by
yeah.
the
Don't
critics.
listen to fucking critics.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah, I want to see that movie. It just came out on Redbox, but
Yeah.
it's like 2.5 hours, so I have to make sure
It is.
I
It
have
is.
that.
It's one of those where I have to stay up super late to watch it. Just,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
have
or
some-
break it up into two, which I hate doing, but yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 5 is Doctor Sleep.
Wow. All right, Mr. Ted, number 5.
My number 5, this was actually a tough one because there are many sequels. This one came out in May of 1982 and was written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. It's Rocky 3.
Nice.
Wow, that's
So I remember, we were kids back then, and I remember my two friends, Vernon and Jay, went to go see it at our local Sixplex, the Oceana, and they said it was so exciting that they were kicking the front seats in front of them, and they broke them.
What?
I was like, oh my God, this sounds like an awesome movie. I got to go see this movie. And I did, and it was amazing. Like, this was from head to toe just like an awesome, fun, like movie.
Yeah.
This is the one with Clubber Lang.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is, Mr. T.
Rocky
to
3
be
is
honest,
good.
this to me is my favorite Rocky.
Yeah,
Over 4.
It's hard to choose
Oh, wow.
because
Oh yeah.
the-
Because there's
the-
so much tragedy that happens in it.
There is,
And there's
yeah.
like a fall and then a rise.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster, dude.
This
that
is
movie.
also Eye of the Tiger, Rocky. Or,
It is.
Yeah, that was huge.
This-
that
And that
summer.
song is just.
That
He's
was
at
like
the height.
huge.
This might have been the most like biggest box office sell for
for the Rocky movie. I
Rockies,
think
yeah.
Actually-
it might have been. I think you're right.
I actually really loved Rocky Balboa. Did
Me
you
too.
see that?
That was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
The
I
last-
enjoyed that.
So my notes say 270 million.
I think you're
that's
right. I
pretty
think it
big
was the
for
biggest one.
1982.
yeah.
Amazing cast: Talia Shire, Burt Young, Burgess Meredith, Mr. T,
Hulk Hogan.
Carl Weathers. Yes,
It's got a great cast.
Thunderlips, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really good. Like my favorite scenes are his scene in the beginning with Burt Young when they're in like the parking lot. It's like a parking structure, and Burt Young throws the bottle at like a Rocky pinball machine and breaks the pinball machine because he's
this is
pissed
the one where
off
he's
at
pissed
Rocky.
off and he, yeah.
And,
Okay, I remember that.
And I guess like he
bully.
feels slighted by Rocky, right? So
He's not getting the. He wants like some attention.
yeah,
he's not getting
and
it.
he's like at the end he's like, hey, Rocky, can I get a job? He's like, all you had to do was ask.
oh,
Hey,
guys,
Paulie.
there's Stallone in here?
Yeah.
Stallone?
Hey, Rock, how you doing? Hey, it's
Paulie.
it's Sylvester Stallone right here. You know, how you doing, guys?
It's pretty great.
So another one of my favorite scenes is like a scene where like Rocky is like racing Carl because they're training and like he just gives up, and then Talia Shire comes over, Adrian comes over and like gives him this like awesome like scripted cheesy 1980s like pep talk. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, Rocky, you can't give up on yourself. It's awesome.
I have a question. Is it 2 or 3 where it ends with him and Apollo sparring, like kind of friendly sparring?
It's 3.
Yeah, it's 3. That's
and
the
then
one.
it ends with them like.
A freeze frame.
Yeah,
of it.
okay, I
About
love
to
that.
knock
It's
each
like
other
a
out.
pain.
Yeah, I love that ending.
was
And then it
awesome.
starts playing Eye of the Tiger. That's right.
Yep.
That's a great ending.
I haven't seen it in probably like 5 to 10 years, but it's always fun to watch. Like,
I
when it
usually
comes
do
on.
every 10 years or so. I'll do a Rocky
Yeah.
marathon. I'll
Yeah.
just watch all
Yeah.
the first 4 in a
great.
row. Like
Yeah, they're really good.
AMC
So-
usually does like a
Rocky marathon?
Yeah, they'll do like a Rocky marathon, or they'll do like a Liam Neeson marathon,
Yeah.
and they just play all of their movies back to back.
Yep. Uplifting movie, just a story of redemption. Burgess Meredith's character, Mickey.
no spoiler alerts. No,
Oh,
you can
right.
spoil it. It came out in '82,
It's great, dude. I love that movie.
but that
Yeah.
gives the Rocky character more drive too.
Yeah.
when that happens. He's like pissed.
Yeah, I
he's
mean
like,
the setup is great. It's just like
Yeah.
he goes through like 10 like setup fights.
Yep.
And
finally faces a challenge and
Yeah.
then loses.
Yeah.
Like dramatically.
and has to redeem himself. It's
Yep.
great.
It's great,
Yep.
dude.
So that's my number 5, Rocky
flick.
3.
It's a slice of America, man.
Yeah.
Rocky's all about the USA, baby.
USA, USA, USA.
Hey, we all stopped at the same
Brad,
time.
Number 5.
All right. This is going to be controversial,
Uh-oh.
but I'll explain why. So my number 5 is actually a tie, but
What?
But-
Are you pulling up Brad?
no, but I'm changing it up. I am not going to reveal one of the ties because I'm pretty confident
You will.
someone else is going to have this. I'll just
okay.
bring it up when someone else mentions it. That
Okay.
it's my
All right.
tie. So, my number 5 pick is released by Paramount in June of 1982, directed by Nicholas
I know
Meyer.
what it is.
Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
good
This
movie.
is a very underrated sequel. I feel like. You don't have to be a Trek fan, I think, either to appreciate this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's why it's a great sequel. It blows the original one, which
Really?
was Star Trek: The Motion Picture, out of the water.
Whoa.
Like motion picture,
Night and day.
was not very good. I'll just
was
I'll be
terrible.
blunt
I've-
about it.
It was-
to be honest
it was
with
an
you guys,
artsy
and I'll be
movie.
straight up honest, I've never seen a Star Trek flick before. Ever.
Don't ever watch motion picture.
Yeah, don't. You can skip that one.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Star Trek 2 is what a sequel should be. It lives up to it exceeds the first one. Actually, it beats it. This is probably one of the better in terms of sequels that are better than the original. This is one of them. The main villain, Ricardo Montalban, as Khan, was excellent. He
Yep.
is just like his dialogue and he's a villain you love to hate. He's so good. Like,
So preface the story because his character actually comes from.
yes, his character Khan appears in the original series in season 1, and basically he comes from the past, like 1990, where like the world is like having this like genetic war, and he's like a conqueror dictator. They go to the future and they're like in a derelict ship where they've been sleeping for like hundreds of years, and then the Enterprise stumbles across it, wakes them up, not knowing who this guy is, and then basically they find out that Khan is like this evil dictator, and they exile him, and that's how the episode ends with him being exiled by Captain Kirk. This movie takes place years later. Khan makes it out of
Right.
exile, basically. So
Ruthlessly.
there's a lot of backstory in it, but I think you can still appreciate this movie without seeing the original
I
episode.
agree.
So,
It's a story of revenge.
and this movie has great scenes. There's a huge dog chase
Ship to
sequence,
ship to ship,
where they
battle.
go. Yeah, it's
Ship
like a
to ship.
submarine battle, but they're in space, and it's so like tense. Like,
I was gonna say like colonial warships.
yeah,
Yeah.
where like they're taking like blind shots and don't know where the other one is. Like, it's really good. And
In space. It's amazing.
yeah,
Yep.
this sequel is really, really good. George has to watch it. If you've never seen one, you gotta watch
I've
it.
Please
not seen it.
do yourself a favor.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
this,
it's definitely the best Star Trek movie in the series to me.
I agree.
I love that scene where those like bugs are going in those
oh
dudes'
yeah, that
ears.
freaked me out as a kid. I
Yes.
saw this movie in the theater when I was a little kid, and that freaked me out. Terrorized.
It still
me.
freaks me
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
It's gross.
Also, this movie set up a story arc where like the next 2 movies connected to it. So if you watch 2, you kind of have to watch 3 and 4 to like get to the end of the story.
That's
Okay.
true. Yeah.
So
but
they
it
all
is great
go-
standalone
Yeah.
as well.
I'll be honest. This is a film series that I just never got into.
Me neither.
Yeah, but I feel like Star Trek 2, you don't have to be a Trek fan. You can
Yeah.
probably watch
It's well
it.
written. Yeah.
Oh,
You'll,
wow.
you'll have fun watching
Okay.
it. I think you'll appreciate it, even if you
Yeah.
don't like Star Trek. I think you can still watch this one.
Yeah, I think that's the bonus is for the fans.
Yeah, it's that much
Sure.
better. If
But
you
anybody
are a
can
Trek
appreciate
fan.
it.
Anyways, that's my number 5.
Awesome.
Nice. George, number 5.
All right, my number 5 was released in 2014.
Oh.
and
shit.
I love comic books, so it's Captain America 2: Winter Soldier.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Again, like we were saying earlier, where how the first or the sequel has to somewhat connect with the first one or even somewhat surpass the first one. And I thought this movie totally surpassed the first one.
Yeah.
With way more action, more fight scenes.
It's like espionage.
Oh yeah, that's some espionage in it. And the fact, and like my favorite scene is the elevator scene when Steve Rogers steps into the elevator and he's got the guys in there and they're like, all right, we're waiting for the doors to close. As soon as the doors close, we're going to jump this dude in. Big fucking mistake.
Yeah.
He kicks the living shit out of him.
Badass.
Oh, dude, it was one of the best fight scenes I've seen in a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just him trying to fit into the present, just
Mm-hmm.
trying to make, go from being in the like World War II
Yeah.
World War II.
Exactly.
era to now
To now.
the present, and then him
Yep.
trying to fit in. So
I'm gonna
go ahead.
real quick. I want to say I think Winter Soldier is probably one of the most underrated Marvel. Like that movie,
Oh,
no
by
one ever
far.
talks about, but it's
No.
actually one of the better ones.
Agree.
Like it gets looked over.
It does, and it's great, man. Like I
It
said,
didn't
the
make a
fight
lot of money,
scenes-
but it
no,
was
it
great.
didn't. But it was great, and again, it added to the first one. It picked up right where the first one left off. There was more characters into it. Black Widow comes in there, and
Yep.
the Falcon. So it was just that much better, I think.
I believe this is the movie that they kind of unravel more layers of that story.
Yeah.
And they uncover like more Hydra stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, them working in the background and
Yeah. It's
pretty
like,
much
oh
running
shit, this
everything.
is like a badass group that they're
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
And Winter Soldier is pretty badass too.
Mhm.
In that movie, it's pretty.
Yeah, and it, like you said, it
Crazy.
connects because like Bucky and
Yep.
it's like
it reveals, the Winter Soldier reveals to be Bucky.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Who's
it's
brainwashed.
7 years
Yeah.
old. We can spoil
Yeah.
it. 6 years old.
I have not seen this movie.
Oh,
Thanks
shit.
a lot.
You don't even know what we're talking about. You're like,
Dude,
what?
talk away.
It's good, man. It's
That's
good
like
stuff.
thumbs down.
You guys want to talk about Endgame? Go ahead.
But yeah, again,
Yeah,
that one.
I saw it. Is I.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah. It appeals to me because I love comic
Yeah,
books.
yeah, I
I
get-
love
yeah, I get
superheroes, and to me, this was just one of those movies where it literally it was like a comic book that jumped off the page and into the
I
movies,
agree with
into
you.
the
It's,
screen.
I'd say it's the hidden gem of the Marvel movies. The
100%,
current Marvel
yeah.
movies.
I love those
It's-
Captain
it's
America movies.
underappreciated,
Yep.
underrated.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's good, dude. I love Ant-Man.
Ant-Man and the
Honestly,
Wasp
out of all
too.
Marvel sequels, the Winter Soldier is probably my favorite one.
Yeah,
Like, more
agreed.
than
100.
any of the
Even
other
better than
Marvel.
Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
better
way
than-
better.
Yeah, 100%.
They're all so hard to pick. I love all those Captain America movies.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All
that's my
right.
number 5.
I'm about to start some controversy with my number 4 pick
Uh-oh.
Bring it.
because in this
Caddyshack 2.
film series, a lot
Jaws
of
2.
people just maybe they don't like this movie, but I
Oh
love
no,
it,
I think I know what
and
you're gonna say.
I think it's still really good.
Uh-oh.
My number 4 pick is Return of the Jedi.
Oh no, that's not what I thought. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people want to go Empire, but man, as a child, I still have so many fond memories of this movie, and I know it's more of like the cheesy, like family feel good stuff with the Ewoks and stuff. But man, I love Return of the Jedi. I think it's great, and
Yeah.
that's my number 4. I just think that's my favorite Star Wars movie.
I don't think that's controversial.
No,
There's
not
a
at
lot
all. To
like
me,
about
I thought
Jedi.
Return of the Jedi out of if we're gonna go just the first two, like Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, I thought Return of the Jedi was the more fun of the two.
That movie is poop.
I enjoyed it. I laughed. I don't know. I just felt it was a little more fun. If that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Well, and to me, Return of the Jedi, I love it because it's got Luke finally facing off against Vader and
Yeah.
actually like having a real duel with him, like where it's just the two of them.
right.
Yeah, all of his training is like come to fruition. He's a
Culminating
Jedi.
all
Yeah.
in this.
He's a Jedi
final
master
battle.
now. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't. I agree with you.
I
Billy,
just
though.
well, I just know that in the Star Wars universe, like people are really like one way or the other with Return of the
Right.
Jedi.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I thought
everyone-
maybe
Yeah, the super diehard nerds. They're I think would Empire Strikes Back would be their sequel or whatever.
I mean, I
but
don't
this
think
is
you'd go
just-
wrong with either one, but
yeah.
like I feel like Billy's right. Yeah, most people go Empire.
Empire's
Yeah.
the best one.
Right,
Fuck
that's
what
true.
you think.
Billy, how old were you when you saw Return of the Jedi?
Oh, what year was that? Like
83.
I think it was
84?
Summer '83.
83. I was oh my god, can I not do math? I was 6 years old.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a good age to see it.
Oh yeah.
I think that one has a lot of nostalgia for me too because I was only 4, and it's the
Yeah.
only one I saw in the theater on the original run. Like the other ones were
Yeah.
re-release. But yeah, I remember like loving Jabba when I saw it in theater. The Rancor, like it had a lot of like awesome scenes that were just really fun. The whole like
Yeah.
Sarlacc battle where they're in the on the skiffs, like that was
Yeah.
awesome. Like
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I was 29 and
No, this is
just
it's
kidding.
cool.
I was 28.
I'm super excited for my daughter's already asking to watch Star Wars because we go to
Nice.
Target a lot and
Yeah.
Oh, and she
Walmart
sees
and she
it.
sees all the Star Wars stuff and all the memorabilia and she keeps like, what is that? What is it? And I tell her it's Star Wars. She's like, I want to watch Star Wars, and I'm excited to. And I think she's she's 5. She'll be 6 in
that's how old I was
in
when
November.
I saw 4 or 5.
And I think I can't wait to show her these movies.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have
Especially
to
Return of the
explain some
Jedi.
stuff
Yeah.
to her, but
Yeah.
I think it's time.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to show her these movies.
Yeah.
and 100% especially Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Good
Oh,
pick, Billy.
show. Brad, number 4.
So we talked about earlier, what makes a good sequel, and one of the things I brought up was like a continuation of something from the original, and this actually continues on the same night. It's Halloween 2,
Yes.
the 1981 Rick Rosenthal directed film.
Yes.
It follows Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, and he is after her and follows her to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. I love this movie. And I didn't know until recently Rick Rosenthal directed Resurrection as well, which is the terrible Busta
Did he?
Rhymes.
Oh, did he really?
didn't know
that. Yeah.
Shit, that's some
I didn't know
good
that.
trivia, dude. I didn't know that either.
It was the one where it's like a reality crew and they're like filming it in the house. It's god awful, but
Yeah.
I just loved they kind of changed the story in this or the mythology as far as like Laurie Strode is actually Michael's sister. They introduced that in this. I know John Carpenter did not intend on a sequel. He wasn't happy with this. He didn't want to direct this. He said before, like, to write this, he had to like basically drink a 6-pack of beer and go with the script.
Like the studios were forced.
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah.
He was
I mean,
basically forced to do it,
Yeah,
yeah.
he didn't want to do it.
And what's
so-
funny is I thought for some weird reason in my head that they had revealed that in part 1 that it was
No.
his sister. But no, I was totally
and I know
wrong.
like a lot of people are kind of like torn on that, but I
like that.
I mean I know that
I don't. It never bothered me.
it
at
didn't
all.
bother me either. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of what the newer version just did,
Yeah.
where it kind of wiped away some of the sequel.
I didn't like
two.
that
It
either.
wiped away 2, which I didn't like that. They
I didn't
could've-
like that
They
either.
They basically did that to get rid of the sister thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It didn't bother me. I know it upset some people, but yeah, Halloween 2 for me is it has the same mask. Donald Pleasance is in it. It's great. I
The
don't know.
sheriff's in it.
Yeah,
Like
Sheriff Brackett.
Sheriff Brackett.
Yep.
The sequel, that's one of those sequels. It's almost like The Godfather Part 2. I feel like when I watch
It's a
Halloween 1,
continuation.
I want to watch Halloween 2.
It bleeds
Right.
into
Yeah,
the second
yeah.
one. That's
Like
what
that-
I was
it's
saying.
connected.
Bleeds.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
You
takes
can
place,
honestly like
right after
you could honestly cut the credits of Halloween and then
and make it one long.
and then
That's
make it one
awesome.
long feature,
Yeah.
which
And
is
actually-
cool.
Halloween 2, it's another. It's like I think it's like Wrath of Khan. I think it's a very underrated, underappreciated sequel. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, Halloween 2, like
Right.
they didn't need to make that one, but I think actually it's a really good sequel.
Well, I think maybe it's like
has a lot of good
something
merits
too,
about it.
like over time has kind of like gained a little more popularity or steam, like part
Yeah.
3 has.
Yeah, part
Okay.
3 for sure has
Yeah.
over time. But I remember watching part 2 like when I was a little kid, like in 85, 86. It was a few years old, and I liked it back then. Like
yeah,
it was always
yeah, I did
entertaining.
Too. I did
like-
too. Yeah, she has that same feel.
Amazing grace, come sit on my face.
That's right.
Don't make me cry. I need your pie.
That was sung in the movie.
That was he was in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Before he
Yeah.
got killed.
Yeah, and I think the only reason they could do that is because they could get the rights to that song.
I just thought of
Like
something
that.
too. Halloween 2 is also where they introduced Mr. Sandman. Is the
Yes.
and
It's a great ending song. I love it.
It's weird because I remember watching it as a kid, and that song the song obviously existed way before the movie, but that song feels almost creepy in a
It
way because it's in
does,
that
dude.
movie. Like I
Yeah.
remember, like
It,
as a
you
kid, I'd
leave
get
feeling creepy, like
creepy.
just what the fuck.
Boom, 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 boom.
yeah, because
boom,
it's the
boom,
end
boom.
credit
Yeah.
song.
Boom.
It says it too.
Mr.
Is it the one that starts
Yeah.
out? He's like, I shot him 7 times. I shot him 7 times.
There's
Yes.
and there's a kind of like controversy on like how many times he shot in the first one and then at the sequel in part 2.
Well, they
like,
reshot the end of the first one
right?
for 2.
But I
remember?
think he shoots 5 times and he shot 6 in the original. There's some
Oh.
little discrepancy, but
I don't think I ever noticed that.
Me neither.
Back to that song, like that Billy was singing. But in part 3 too, I don't think they could get they didn't have the budget for songs, so the ding, 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 nowadays in Halloween,
Yeah.
it's London Bridges, so it's like public domain. So they
Oh.
used
That
London
makes
Bridges
sense.
falling down. Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
makes
funny.
sense.
I didn't know that.
Didn't even know that. Good trivia.
What's your favorite scene in real quick?
In 2,
Yeah.
honestly, the ending when she turns on all the oxygen,
Yeah, and you can hear
and his eyes are bleeding, and,
he's swiping, and you can hear
just
it,
that sound effect of the scalpel swishing
Yeah.
through that room. That to me,
And then Dr. Loomis like turns on the
Oh,
oxygen to
great.
get him over there.
Yeah, and then he follows that sound.
Yeah.
And you can hear the
It's so great. Yeah. Yeah, he's like whoosh, whoosh. But even before that is when dude, he's just badass and he walks straight through that glass
Yeah,
door.
dude,
The
Yeah.
opening door.
Doesn't even flinch,
It's
dude.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of fun
There's
stuff
some
in
really
that.
good scenes on that one, actually, now that I
Yeah.
think about it. The whole the hot tub scene is
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
disturbing.
Right.
Like,
Right.
You see some titties in that scene, right? Did she get
Yeah, that's
yeah. Yeah.
It's like the
For
sauna or
that
whatever
one,
that is.
That one actually has a. You know what? I think that one is so effective because you get claustrophobic because he's in the hospital. It's not like the hospital can be that big,
Right.
So that adds to the
Yeah.
tension
Yep.
so much more because he's in there like somewhere.
I think Dana Carvey is in
Yeah, he plays an orderly
Yeah,
or one
in
of the
the-
nurses.
is it the TV
But I
cut?
think
Funny.
he's only in the TV
Yeah,
cut.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, it's when they're giving her the shots, like at the beginning.
I had to
Right.
calm her down.
Yeah. She's like, oh, please no, please no.
So number 4 for me, Halloween 2.
All right, Ted, number 4.
My number 4, I think we've talked about this before, but it's Superman 2, the Richard Lester cut.
Oh, yes.
So just quickly, we've talked about this before. It's Warner Brothers, great cast, amazing stakes, high stakes villains.
Terrence Stamp is
Yeah,
General
it's
Zod.
good. 190 million box office on that one.
Nice.
It was just really good.
I feel like this is another sequel like Halloween 2,
Mm-hmm.
where you kind of almost have to watch 1 and 2 back to back. Like,
Yeah.
they're one giant story, like being told.
Yeah, just
Like they connect.
Hackman's goodness too. Gene Hackman,
Yeah.
he's
He
great.
plays such a good villain.
Yeah, he's such a
Asshole.
great heel,
Mm-hmm.
villain. That kind of like helps the other villains out.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck the country. I'll just, I'll side with you guys. And
Yeah.
Yeah, great twists in this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Now you mentioned this is the Lester cut, the
Yeah.
original theatrical cut.
As
Yeah,
opposed
that's the
to
one
The Donner cut.
Yeah, that's the one I grew up with. So I kinda,
No, I'm the
kinda-
same
I
way.
never saw the
I
Donner
did.
cut, to be
I
honest.
saw it once
I
when it
haven't
came out on
seen it
DVD. It's, I don't know. It's good. It's
It's okay.
It's not like you said. It's not the one you grew up with.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, they have some extra scenes in it from what I remember.
That's
Yeah,
about
the
it.
Niagara Falls scene where they're like
Yeah.
in the room or whatever. That's like all new. Like
Yep.
yeah.
So that's my number 4 is Superman 2.
Nice. Brett, number 4.
All right, my number 4 actually was already mentioned by Billy. It's The Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost rated
first
this a
repeat.
little higher. I was gonna make it my number 2, but I ended up dropping it to number 4. But like you said, great movie, and I feel like now we have a pattern where like all these sequels are all like last 3, Godfather 2, and then Superman 2, and Halloween 2. They're all like pretty much connected to the first one, and you have to watch both. Like
What about fucking Winter Soldier, dude? That one's connected. Don't try to leave me out of this.
I gave props to Winter Soldier. I gave props to Winter Soldier,
All
but
right, all right.
yeah, Godfather 2, just great, great acting and directing. It's on
Getting all
par,
choked up.
on par, if not exceeding the original. I think like
I knew
Billy
it was
said.
you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You
Yeah,
broke my
I was gonna
heart,
say
Fredo.
2 has a lot of amazing scenes and acting, and that's the one where really Michael Corleone really becomes like all power. Like he becomes like the Don, and it's like
Yeah.
you see him really change. Like the character in the first one's kind of like he starts off with good intentions and then becomes kind of tormented and then wants to do good for his family, and then in the second one he just becomes a totally different person. Like it's sad to watch, but really good, riveting.
Yeah.
I haven't
That last
seen
scene
Godfather
in the movie
2.
when like Diane Keaton's looking through the
You've never
doorway
seen
and the
it in a long
doorway
time.
just slowly
okay.
closes.
Yeah.
and you see Al Pacino's face. That's a great end.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's sad to watch it because
It is,
you
dude.
feel for him, and at the same time you're like, oh, like he doesn't realize, but he's just destroying everything around him. He
Yeah.
doesn't know he's doing it, but it's just everything's collapsing like all around him.
Well, I said it first, so I'm better than you. George, number 4.
Number 4 for me, it's already been said by Brad. Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Oh, got some repeats.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
Again, the whole just how part 1 ends and 2 picks up. It's just like you guys said earlier, where you remove the credits and then you just bring it in, and it just adds more
Yeah,
to the first one, and it gives you a better look at Michael Myers. He's not like the shadow. Like in the first one, you just see him behind the shadows. You see him creeping.
Yeah.
He's the shape.
Yeah. Where this one, it's like the big reveal. You see him. He's after you. He's It's again. It's
What's
it
your
adds to
favorite
it.
scene?
The same thing Brad said at the end, where they're turning on the oxygen.
Yeah.
And you could hear, you could hear the oxygen going on,
Getting louder every time they do more.
and then the slashing. You can see how fucking strong he is.
Yeah, because when he swings,
He swings. You can hear, and it's only a fucking scalpel. It's not like he's swinging an axe.
Yeah,
or
great
anything.
sound
Yeah,
effects.
it's
Yeah.
just a little. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's got like some force. So
He's
you know
holding
this
his
dude is-
eyes, his face.
Yeah, because the blood. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That scene's great.
What's your favorite scene, Brett?
I was just gonna say, I think my favorite scene might be. I love the beginning when he's like kind of on the loose. He just got shot, and he's like, they don't know where he is, and he goes into this house where like he's trying to find a weapon.
Great.
Oh,
And
I
the
forgot
lady's
about
making like her husband
A
like a
sandwich.
sandwich, and he takes the knife and like leaves the blood all over. I
Which
love that scene.
They kind of did. You saw the new one, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of did that scene.
Yeah.
Which she was dressed like the woman in 2.
Right,
didn't
the
bathrobe
rollers in
or
her
whatever.
hair.
But
the
in
bathrobe.
this one, doesn't he kill them?
No.
Yes.
Oh, in the new one.
Yeah, in the new
Yeah,
one.
the new
In
one.
In the
first one,
original, he
No,
doesn't.
no.
Which
No.
I like.
She screams when she sees the blood on
Yeah,
the
but he's
on the-
long
I
gone.
love
He's
that.
already-
Yeah,
in
he's
the,
gone.
Dude, I love that in the old sequel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where he doesn't. He's like, they're nothing.
He
to
wants
him.
the knife.
He wants
Yeah.
the knife. He's like, fuck these people.
He's on a mission.
Yeah, he's on
Yeah.
a mission. These people don't mean anything to him. He's like, I just want this, and I'm gonna
Right.
fucking go. That to me, that's more scarier that he did that
Yes.
than him slaughtering. The
Yeah, because
people.
then when he kills
Agreed.
everything, and then you're like, it makes it less scary and less
Yeah.
special.
Yep.
But that's I think that might be my favorite.
I remember
scene.
like every time he killed somebody, there was like that weird music that plays like wee 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 wee. It's like, you know, a little,
Oh, like
weird-
this, like a stinger sound
sting-
effect.
I love
Yeah.
that. You know what we did in the where I work? We grabbed the stinger, and every time one of like operations or management
You do
comes
it?
on, we click it on.
That's funny.
And they walk in, and then me and the guy that hit it, we look around like. Get all dramatic, like, look at
What's going
what is that?
Funny.
And the operations guy, dude, doesn't that get old already? And we're like, nope,
That's
Never.
it never gets old.
Never.
So that recent Halloween that came out, is the sequel going to be just called Halloween 2?
Halloween Kills.
Oh, Halloween Kill. Okay.
Because that would be the
Okay.
third Halloween too.
Yeah,
if
you're
they
right.
did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, oh, enough
Yeah.
already. Fuck.
No
Anyway.
more Rob Zombie. No more movies.
Oh, don't even start with fucking Rob
Oh,
Zombie.
yeah.
Jesus. Sorry.
Okay, my number 3 sequel of all time is The Dark Knight.
Great.
Great one.
Great movie.
Oh.
Heath Ledger, great as the Joker. Christian Bale, great as Batman. This is I think my favorite Batman series. The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises and the Batman. What was the first one called?
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. Yes, I think this is my favorite series of the Batmans, even though I'm very fond of the first Michael Keaton one. This movie just has everything, man. It's so good. It's been on TV a lot lately, and I feel like I always end up watching it. I mean, the guy who played Harvey Dent, what's his name? Aaron Eckhart. He's great in it.
Oh, he's great.
Gary
I love that
Oldman's great in it. I mean, it's such a good movie, man, and it's got everything you want in a Batman movie. And Christopher Nolan's a genius. Anything he makes is worth watching.
Totally.
and,
Definitely.
It's got it all, man. You want a movie sequel? It's got it. That's what it is.
It's great.
It's a home run.
Yeah.
And Gary Oldman, I think, isn't it this like one of the first times he plays a good guy? He's usually like a bad guy
Right.
in movies.
He usually
He plays
is.
such
And
a
he's
good
great in it,
bad
too.
guy.
He's great.
But he's really good in this.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love me some
Yeah.
Gary Oldman.
And this one was like huge. Like Batman Begins, I saw it in the theater, but I know a lot of people that are huge Batman fans. They didn't see it in the theater, and it kind of like
I saw
made
it like 5 times.
it made money, but it wasn't a huge hit. Dark
Yeah.
Knight was like a huge hit. Like
Well,
it
it's
was giant.
to me an exception where it's better than the first Batman to me.
Yeah.
yeah,
The Nolan movie, I thought.
Yeah.
Wasn't this nominated for Best Picture?
I think it
yeah,
was.
Yeah.
And Heath
Yeah.
Ledger won Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Posthumous.
And probably
Posthumous,
Joaquin
yes.
Phoenix
Rest
is going
in
to
peace,
win
Heath
for
Ledger.
this year, probably.
Probably.
I think so. I hope so. I think he
Oh,
will.
come on, dude.
Yeah.
He has to, dude. This
Yeah.
was. Whatever. I'm not going to even start.
But Dark Knight also was like, it was one of those movies where I think it also surprised a lot of people because Batman Begins wasn't a huge hit and a lot of people didn't see it. People weren't really expecting Dark Knight to be probably like huge. And then when it came out and everyone's like, oh my God, you got to see this. It was like word of mouth spread really quickly.
yeah, people that weren't even comic book fans were going to watch
Yeah,
it. I
that's-
went and saw that movie at least.
I think I saw it
wanna
3
see-
times the opening weekend.
I didn't see
Opening
that.
weekend 3 times?
yeah, I saw like
I
Friday,
remember
Saturday
that.
night, and Sunday night, I think.
Yeah.
So you
Wow.
liked it better than the first one, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I went a
liked
total
the first one, but way better.
I went a total
yeah.
like 5 times, and every time that I went, it was fucking packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could see, and people were talking about it in the lobby. They were
What
just
year
like-
was that?
2008,
Yeah.
July.
Like to me, what was so great
okay.
about the Nolan series was
I think-
like
didn't-
it's a comic book movie, but it didn't. It
you not go see it?
played it real.
It
It felt like
felt-
a like
yeah.
a drama. It was like
Exactly.
it was a real
We probably
movie.
did.
Yep.
There wasn't a
It felt
cheese
like that for
factor
sure.
to it.
I think
Yeah.
we went twice. I think you and I went twice.
I saw that movie, I think, 8 times.
Yeah,
in
I
the
think you and I
theater.
went twice.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, that movie is everything about it's way better than Batman Begins. I mean, I'd say it.
Yeah, Heath Ledger just
And very
knocked
different
it out of
than
the
like
fucking
the
park, dude.
the Burton ones. I mean, it was the feel of it was just so different.
It's more grounded in reality.
you
I'll say,
can't
like,
compare
it was
the
so dark, dude. It was
Yeah.
great.
but
Like,
the world it's in is pretty much realistic. It
Very.
feels like it's Chicago or New York City now. Like, whereas the Michael Keaton one was more comic bookish, like a little more romance. Like it had that romantic feel to it, like film noir. Whereas this one was more grounded, like in just gritty reality, like kind of dark reality.
way better
Plus
than that third one too. The autopilot. Come on.
I like Dark
Dude,
Knight Rises.
he said autopilot like 50 times in that movie. I was like, I get it, autopilot. I will remember this plot point.
Yes.
Well, plus it had the acting returns of Eric Roberts and Anthony Michael Hall.
Yes,
Yeah,
it did.
brought him-
Dude, I didn't even notice that was Anthony Michael Hall when we saw. I think Billy and I saw it together, and he was like, "Dude, you see Anthony Michael Hall?" I was like, "Who
You
is
didn't-
he?"
You didn't realize it was him?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
shit.
I think
Yeah.
it was like when he was like hanging upside down or something.
Oh,
and when he
yeah.
was like, oh, "You know who that is?" I was like, "I have no idea."
Dark Knight's so
Well, all
amazing.
right, Brad, number 3.
My number 3. This to me is an exception where you actually don't have to have seen the original. It is Evil Dead 2.
Yep.
Dead by Dawn. 1987 Sam Raimi directed movie starring Bruce Campbell. This is a situation where they actually got more money to go back and
It's basically a remake.
Remake
of the
it.
original.
yeah,
right?
remake a movie
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the original one is to me a true horror film, whereas this is a Three Stooges comedy
Yes.
with some blood, a lot of blood thrown in. It's just to me, if you're a horror movie fan or comedy fan, like to me, it's got a little something of everything.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
I miss Sam Raimi doing this stuff.
Me
Like,
too.
he just got announced to do Doctor Strange.
Is he
That's
official?
good.
I think so, or it's
Like he
rumored,
confirmed
but I'm not a fan of that series. But I've never saw that person, but I'll see it just because he directed it. Like,
Yeah.
I love the Drag Me to Hell kind of stuff that he does.
You and I went and saw that.
I like the Spider-Man too.
You and
yeah,
I
we
went and
did.
saw Drag
we
Me Down. It
did.
was awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
he
like
was
his
in the
horror-
crowd. Sam
yeah,
Raimi was
His
there.
horror
Yeah.
movies.
That was
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
movie, dude.
I
I feel like
think-
he can do super because he did Darkman and
Darkman's
Spider-Man.
great.
Right.
I love
I love Darkman.
I feel like he
I do
knows how
too.
to do both those
Right.
genres
He
pretty
does.
well.
But this to me is like the first time, like as a kid, I actually recognized camera work to
Yep.
this degree. Like it was pre-MTV kind of flashy stuff.
Very
like
stylized.
I was just very stylized. I was in awe of like, oh my gosh, you can do this and this with a camera. Like
Yeah.
mount it to a 2x4 and run it between things and
Yeah.
up and down. Like it was just awesome.
Something left to be said about that old like indie filmmaking,
Coen Brothers,
shoestring
like-
budget,
yeah.
filmmaking style. It's something you can really relate to back
Yeah.
then. It was just
And also,
it seemed
it
tangible.
makes you like feel like you're part of the movie. Like
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
like you said with the 2x4. Like how fucking genius is
It was
that,
so
dude?
entertaining.
It's like you're
Right.
in the movie. You're
Yeah.
feeling. It's not just some.
You're
stagnant
chasing
camera.
Ash door to door.
Exactly.
Like, it's,
Yep.
I love
Did
that.
you see that? Did you see that clip on Twitter recently where they had like Bruce Campbell attached to like a small crane, like
No.
going in circles and like trash is being thrown at him? And
Oh,
wind
that's
was being-
that's the end of that's when he lands in the like the muddy water. It's from the
yeah.
film, right?
It looks so cool, but it looks so bootleg, but it looks so cool.
Yeah, because they speed it up in the movie.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh, that's
Exactly.
funny.
It's when like the spirit, like
Yep.
the Deadites are after him or whatever.
But it goes to
Yeah.
show you like how that's dude creative genius right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see that.
Right.
You know. You don't
Raimi,
see that
Raimi
much.
was like one of the first people doing that like horror comedy thing,
Right.
and that was so cool because you have like these mix of emotions, and usually you weren't laughing as much in horror movies at the
Right,
time that I
right.
remember, and it was really cool.
I've read interviews or listened to podcasts and stuff where he was friends with the Coen brothers and like he kind of got stuff from like Blood Simple, like you know
Yeah.
those were like low budget
Yeah.
and independent kind of stuff where they would kind of like share stories or techniques on how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Did he? I don't remember. Did he do a movie? He didn't between Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 1. Like there was no.
I thought he did Crime Wave, which was not a
okay.
hit. Like I think the studio kind of like came in and edited his cut of the film.
so he doesn't like really approve of that.
Yeah, he's not really a fan of that that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those movies are both those movies are solid, but yeah, I think you're right. Like the you don't need to see the second one. I mean, the first one to see the second
No,
one. Plus,
no.
I think the second one's better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
definitely a different tone. Crime Wave was 85.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a different tone. It's more fun. It's
Definitely enjoyed it.
it's
Yeah.
great. It's just such a fun ride.
Mhm.
Nice. Before we get to Ted's number 3, do you know what the biggest movie sequel of all time is?
Like
Titanic,
box office-wise?
Titanic 2.
Box office wise.
E.T. 2.
With it,
Terminator 2.
Inflation or no inflation?
Oh, hold on.
Let's go. No inflation.
It's going to be a Star Wars
no
movie.
inflation. Well, I was gonna say Endgame is probably the biggest.
You win.
Yeah.
You win. It's
Yeah.
in game.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Because it's
Dude,
like number
there's
3 all time.
I think
I
I
didn't think
think
of
all
that. You're
3
right.
of the Avengers movies are in the top 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I was going to say Star Wars.
now, if you
but
take
yeah.
away
Yeah, I
Endgame,
was
I
gonna say
think
Star
it's
Wars.
probably Dark Knight. Probably.
I think Avatar is 2, Titanic is 3, and that first Star Wars that came out with the new cast.
Oh, Force
with
Awakens.
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
That one is number 4.
I forgot that
Okay,
made a lot of
that's a
money.
big one.
You know, it's weird. In a weird way, I don't even think of those movies as like sequels because they're not like 1, 2, 3.
Which
you know,
one?
it's like Avengers this, Avengers Endgame.
They
Avengers,
are.
No, they totally are. I agree.
Yeah. It's probably
Like,
because there's so many of them.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Like they absolutely are. But you know, it's like Ant-Man 1, Ant-Man 2.
So-
But like the Avengers
Ant-Man
are
9.
Yeah.
so many
Now, if you just,
versions and
if you only
Because
watch
it's
the
so many
Avengers
layers of
movies,
the other movies tying
But yeah,
into
right,
it, so
right.
it kind of doesn't even feel like a sequel. It just feels like a
that
continuation.
world expand.
they're kind of what
expand-
Ted said. They're serials.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the word.
And that's what they meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like a
Count
comic.
All right,
Chocula.
Mr. Ted.
Yeah, I'm
What's your third pick?
My third pick was Brett's number 5 pick, Star Trek
Oh.
2.
Goose.
Let's see what I have to add. So 97 million box office.
Damn,
It was a hit
That's pretty big for
1982.
yeah, hell yeah.
Ricardo Montalban.
That's like
is
5
Khan
billion now,
in
right?
that.
Yes.
Yes.
Just a great cast. So Nicholas Meyer also directed Time After Time
Great
and
movie.
the TV film The Day After.
He also did. He
Couple-
came back and did
couple
Star
good
Trek
movies.
6, which is also really good.
Great. Undiscovered Country.
There was a Star
What's your
Trek
favorite
6?
scene?
In Star Trek 2?
Wow, how do we not know this, Brad?
Wow.
Exactly.
Right?
I don't know. I think
there
when
was a Star Trek 6, dude.
Huh?
There was a Star Trek 6.
Yeah. Didn't know it.
No?
maybe when Spock hacks into the Reliant
Oh.
and drops their shields
Yeah.
without them.
yeah.
Drop
Like
your
our-
shorts.
Yeah. So
Raise them. I'm trying. You guys got to watch this movie.
yeah, it's a great movie.
You
Well, I mean, you guys
There are a
don't
lot of
have
great
any love
scenes.
for
Like Kermit
the
the
boy
Frog.
Tom?
Was Kermit the Frog in Star Trek?
he was. He had a cameo in it. He was Lieutenant.
Yo, you guys don't. You
Lieutenant
guys
This
don't
is,
have any love for Star
Lieutenant
Trek.
Kermit the Frog.
Which one was the Voyage Home? Was that number 5?
4.
That was 4. That was a great
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So they
No
say
love
the
for that
even
one?
the even number of movies
I like
are great.
4. Four's cool.
4's good. Yeah. It's got the humpback whales.
Mm-hmm.
very
And that
good.
that and that wraps up that story arc that starts.
There
with
are
Ralph
humpback
Lauren.
whales in space?
No, they time travel in 4. They go back. They come to now.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Okay.
It's really good.
George, you
actually.
gotta watch 2, 3, and 4.
I feel left out here. Like, I
And
wanna,
dude, watch 6 is actually really good.
It is
too.
good.
That's a good
George.
movie.
is it as good as 9 or is it
better?
Brett thought about it for a second. He's like,
Better.
wait, what?
Hey, which one was
Was-
Hey, George, I've seen it.
Say what?
I've seen it, George.
You've seen it?
Yeah, so you have to see
I
it.
gotta see it then. Fuck. I feel left out here.
It's really good. I enjoyed it. It's my. I don't think anything really fondly about the Star Trek series, but that one is really good.
It is really good.
That's
I'm
what I was
putting it on
saying.
my list.
I think you can like that movie and not like Star Trek at all.
Okay.
And still
I'm
like
adding
that
it to my
movie.
list, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, come on, Ricardo Montalban.
I
as
love
the villain
Ricardo
is like
Montalban.
awesome. Like he's great.
Ricardo Montalban.
Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
With a name like that, how can you not like him?
All right, Brett, number 3.
My number 3 has already been mentioned.
What?
I think it was mentioned
Repeats.
by Billy. I think Billy. Yeah. My number 3 is The Dark Knight. This is just a sequel that it's what you want in a sequel. I think to me, like, it's got everything that was in the original, and this one just did a lot better. And,
Okay.
the only thing I'll add to it, I'll say is, I remember. I think we've talked about this in another podcast before. I remember when Heath Ledger got cast in this role. I was like kind of rolling my eyes. I'm like,
Right,
what are
me
they-
too.
I was kind of like, what are they thinking? Like,
It's the dude from
What?
Knight's Tale. What the
yeah,
fuck?
and
Yeah.
10 Things I Hate About You. I think he was
Yeah.
in that. And I was like, I don't know about this. Like, I really had my doubts. And
Me
when I
too.
saw it in the theater, I remember the first scene where you see him and he's like, he walks in the room and he like does the ha, 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 ha. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I think I'm going to like this Joker. And then like
Yeah.
by the end of that scene where he slams the guy's head into the pen, like he's like, ta-da. Like, by the end of that scene, I was hooked. I was like, this guy is like an awesome Joker.
Yeah.
And going into the movie, I was like, no one can
top Nicholson.
No one could. And Nicholson's still my personal
They're just
favorite.
different versions.
Very different versions.
But going into this movie, I was like,
Why so serious?
I was like, my brain was wired to like hate Heath Ledger's Joker going into the movie. I was like,
Right.
I'm not going to like this.
Yep.
I'm not going to like this. And at the end of the movie, it was completely 180.
That's how good it was.
I left the theater. I was like, damn, like that was a good Joker.
Yeah.
So yeah, my number 3, Dark Knight. The Dark Knight.
Agree, totally agree. But I
Yeah.
said it first.
Damn it! I keep copying Billy.
George, number 3.
My number 3, wow, I didn't have a release date on this one. My bad. But
tell
it's Back to the Future 2.
That would be November '89.
Oh.
November
Going
19
back in time.
Come on, now this one.
Who said that?
It's not. It's to me. part 2. I had way more fun watching part 2 than I did part 1 because not only does he have to go into the future, he has to go back to 1955
Yes.
to fix what he fucked up in the future.
Yep.
Yeah. You know
Just
what's funny?
Unreal, dude.
When I saw that one in the theater, I think I liked the future scenes better. But then as I got older, the best scenes are when he goes back to 1955
Yes.
and you see it from a different angle.
Totally
Yeah, I
different
love that.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so much. I love this movie, man. To me, the Back to the Future franchise is to me one of the best
Trilogies.
trilogies.
I agree.
Yeah, the
ever.
quality like
100%.
stays up at the
Yeah.
same
By
level.
1, 2, and 3 equally are like,
This one's my personal favorite, but
Number
yeah,
3?
they're all good. Like
which
you
is
said.
funny because we're watching part 3 right now in
Yeah.
the background.
I
But
really
anyway,
like the Dark Future.
it's
Yeah.
so good,
The
man.
alternate
Biff's like running
1985.
he's running the show at this point, and it's so much. I don't know,
Yep.
man. I had so much fun watching these. I like I'm like at loss for words at how awesome this movie is.
Yep.
It by far passes the first one, in my opinion. A lot of people probably don't think that. They're like, oh, the first one's the best because
No, that's
going
a-
back to
that's a tough call.
1955 and blah blah blah.
What is your favorite scene in part 2?
Oh my god, dude!
Because I'm trying to think right now.
Chili pepper
Sports
cameos.
Almanac. Is that 2? Sports
that?
Almanac.
Sports Almanac.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sports
yeah.
Almanac. Yep.
I don't think I even have a favorite scene to be honest with you because I love the movie so like entirely from beginning to end. I like
It's good.
My
awesome.
my favorite scene, Brad kind of just like mentioned
Uh-huh.
it, is when they're in 1955 and like he's tracking Biff because Biff's got the album.
Right, right.
He's like tracking him. He goes in the principal's office because the principal like
Yeah.
basically confiscates it from Biff. He gets in there, almost gets caught by the principal. Like he's hiding under his desk. He finally gets it, and then like he opens it up. And it's a fucking like ooh la la, like a French nudie magazine. It's like ooh la la, ooh la la, and he's like, "What the fuck?" I love that scene because it's like the whole time it's so nerve wracking because he's like,
He's
he's got it,
following him.
and then when he
Gotta-
finally
gotta
gets it, he
find it.
opens it, and it's you find out Biff actually switched it so he wouldn't get
Yep.
busted by the principal.
one of the most memorable. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but the most memorable scene to me is when he walks in and Michael J. Fox is playing all the characters at the same time. in
Oh,
that room.
yeah.
Well, a
He's like the
technology wizard Zemeckis was.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
He's like his sister. It's him. And he's the dad, and they're all three like,
Yes.
interacting with each other. It's
He's the
fucking-
original Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's a very memorable scene, dude.
You know what my
Love
favorite part was?
What?
When he went back to the future.
it. Again.
Terrible.
horrible.
So that's my number 3. Back to
I mean,
the
can
Future
we
2.
a good one.
can we just for a moment talk about why there still aren't skateboards that fly?
I know. Where's my
Dude.
hoverboard?
Yep.
Or the lacing shoes? They tried to bring them
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they had those
yeah.
like exact replicas, but they just didn't self-lace like they did. In
Come
the movie.
on.
I want those.
Come on, the technology has to be there. They just haven't
Yeah.
released it.
Self-lacing.
Well, I was thinking
Well-
of the hoverboard. Okay.
Oh, whoops.
Well, let's go ahead and go to number 2. My number 2 pick is has a 2 in the title. It's T2, Terminator 2.
Oh, okay.
Great movie.
Oh,
My top 2 picks I actually went back and watched recently, and this one is still really good, man. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
still got all the punches you want. Like when you want a sequel, this is what you get. A
Hasta la
fucking
vista,
bomb
baby.
Sequel.
Yeah.
So remember when I was saying at the beginning, like sequels that they wait too long, like they wait a long time. This was the one I was.
It's the
talking
exception.
About. They waited
is.
like 7 years between 1 and 2, but 2 ended up, it
was
obviously
perfect.
like for most people, I think loved it more than the first one.
Well, I think
Yeah.
part 2 has made a lot of people go back and watch part 1 because not
Right.
that many people. I don't.
Yeah, part 1 wasn't a hit.
No,
at the
it
box
wasn't.
office.
No.
Like,
No.
I think it gained a following, like being on TV, like over the
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you
Yeah,
know,
if you had HBO, you watched it a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah.
Oh, yes.
Over and over. And again, it was one of my first date night movies. Like, took
Nice.
my very
Nice.
first girlfriend to see that movie.
Wow. And this is also one of the
Nice.
few sequels where the genre changes. The first one's more of like a horror sci-fi.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 2 is like a sci-fi action. Like,
Well, and like the cool thing, it's almost like Evil Dead ish, kind of, where like Evil Dead 1 and 2, like Terminator's kind of more of like a stalker horror movie, and then 2,
Yeah.
like there's fun moments in T2.
well, yeah, 2's
like,
a straight up action sci-fi. Like it's
but there's
good-
like fun comedy. Like Arnold
Yeah.
has like a good charm in that movie.
It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
He's trying to smile.
He's a
Comedic.
good guy now.
Yeah. I was
there's
gonna
good
say-
like there's good fun funny moments, which I
Yes.
feel like the sequels after that lacked.
yeah,
They
Yep.
just
Yeah.
weren't fun.
What a
Like,
great cast,
Salvation
too.
is just dark and grim and just I didn't like
boring.
it. Yeah.
Salvation's not very good.
I love the
I didn't
T2
see
cast.
it. I didn't see it.
Yeah, Joe Morgan as the
Yeah, he's great.
The guy. What's his character's name? I
The
can't
baseball
remember.
player?
Shoeless Joe
The,
Boy.
What is his character's name in that? I can't think.
Who?
It's the guy that has the chip. The guy they're going after
Yeah.
to kill, basically.
Oh, yeah,
Cyberdyne Systems.
Cyberdyne.
Yeah, the Cyberdyne guy. They go to his house. I
escapes
can't think of the
me.
character's name
But
now.
yeah,
But they're the guy. You know, they're gonna kill his family because he's basically the reason.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it all happened. It goes to shit.
yes.
I'm trying to think. That movie has a lot of great scenes.
Was
but I
that
don't-
was that that wasn't in 3D? Was it?
Was it
No.
Miles Dyson?
Yeah, I think that
Miles
is
Dyson,
it.
that's
Dyson.
it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he was in my least favorite movie sequel of all time called Blues Brothers 2000.
Oh,
shit.
it's a stink
I
up.
never even saw that.
I did. I saw it in
sequel.
the theater,
Thank
and it was
God
not good.
you haven't seen it.
Yikes.
It's very,
Yeah.
very sad.
Pass.
Hard.
I mean, like Edward Furlong, man, he's really good in this movie.
Great.
You know, like
It's great.
I forgot how good he was in this movie,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just the action sequences. They don't feel dated. They still
Not at
feel
all.
good. Schwarzenegger's
Not at
just
all.
a badass in this.
Doesn't he
movie.
like rob an ATM machine?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got that little like card thing that it scans
Yeah,
it and
it's like
reads
a-
it, strips,
a reader.
yeah. The only thing
Yeah.
I will say, which is like not a
Great.
problem, but it's like such a minor flaw for me, is in that wash scene when
truck goes over?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
he goes over, they stay on Schwarzenegger's stunt double just a few
Yeah.
frames
Yeah.
too long.
Oh, right,
And
right.
you can kind of see like
It's
you know, it's
him.
not, you know, they created like this T1000 of liquid metal, and they can't like CG Schwarzenegger's face over a
Right.
stunt
Yeah.
double.
Yeah, it
Like you
it
said,
was
they
pretty
just-
bad.
Like it's so minor.
They
Like
coulda-
it doesn't. It's not a big problem. I'm just saying. Like
I do remember
But it
noticing
is- but
that.
it
a
is-
few frames.
but it is
Yeah.
noticeable though.
yeah,
It
I do
is.
remember
You go back
noticing
and look
that
at
too.
it now.
like when the motorcycle lands.
That's it.
they
That's
should've
it.
cut
That's the
but
scene.
It still goes. and
That's
you
the
can tell
scene.
It's not
Yeah,
him.
It's like any Bruce Willis movie. It's like any Bruce Willis movie. Like, have you ever watched Die Hard 2? And like, you can totally tell it's a stunt double and it's not Bruce Willis.
I need to
like
watch
they
it
straight
again.
up
I haven't
like
watched
it's
it in a
almost
while.
like comical. Like they stay on his stunt double way
Yep.
too long.
It's a guy with an afro.
When they're in the
going
airport in the
on?
beginning and he has that shootout, go back
Yes.
and watch that scene. Like you can totally tell it's not Bruce Willis.
Oh,
Sure.
okay. I need to watch it.
But yeah.
rewatch it.
Yep.
By the
What
way,
does Schwarzenegger say in the car? He's like, "Be cool, dickwad."
Yes.
How does it
Oh,
sound, Brett?
that's when they're
Do
when they're
it, Brett.
yeah, do it.
which scene? Which line?
I don't know. They're
Be-
in the car talking
be
about
cool,
like
dickwad.
references.
Oh,
Dickweed?
Yeah, it's he calls it. He says, yeah, he's teaching him bad
Yeah,
words.
words.
How
Yeah.
does he say it? He goes, "Does he say sumi dickhead or dickwad?
Let's cut this.
dickwad.
Sumi dickwad."
Can't
remember.
That Vasquez woman from Aliens has a good
Vasquez.
Vasquez, right? She's a
Yeah.
good cameo.
She's in all James Cameron movies. She's in Titanic.
She's in Aliens.
Yep.
She's in Titanic
Yep.
She
too.
plays the Irish mom that has her kids like when they're like sinking.
Oh,
She's in all of his movies. She must have been really good friends
Is
with
she in
him.
Avatar?
she's probably like.
Oh, that one she probably was, but
She's the T1000 in that scene where she like kills.
Oh, in the kitchen?
somebody. Yeah,
She's the
with
step
milk.
mom.
It's the milk.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's
right through
great.
the eyeball.
that's Xander
Ooh.
Berkeley, right? He's the
so.
stepdad.
Yep. Yeah.
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 Good stuff.
From many Skinny Max
hey,
movies.
did Eddie Furlong, was that he in the new one?
He
There was
is.
a rumor that
It's like
he was
a-
supposed to be
Is
in
it a
it.
cameo? Kind
Oh,
of?
I will get to that.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to Brad's number 2.
My number 2 is a 1986 action sci-fi movie directed by James Cameron. Aliens.
Of course.
Aliens.
This has a very famous Hollywood pitch. I guess Alien financially wasn't a huge success because they spent so much money on marketing. So they weren't going to make a part 2. And James Cameron had, after Terminator, had written a script. He walked in, no paper to the pitch meeting, walked over to a chalkboard, wrote the word alien, then drew the S, then drew 2 lines through it like a dollar sign, and they immediately greenlit it for an $18 million budget.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
So it's like the famous pitch in history
Yeah.
in Hollywood history. But this to me is on par with the original. Like original is dark and sci-fi, and this brings a little like fun, little more fun, and definitely brings the action more than the horror.
Yeah.
There's that in there for sure. But man, it's such a great action movie.
Yep.
I think Aliens is just like Terminator 2, where the genre of the second one's totally.
Absolutely.
The first one's sci-fi horror. The second one's sci-fi action, like for sure.
Both James Cameron.
Yeah,
he
both James Cameron.
changed both the sequels.
Yeah, although he did the
characters-
original Terminator, but yeah, he like on his both of those
Sequels,
movies.
yeah.
It's like the sequels change, but
Yep.
Game over, man.
it's
Yep.
like Aliens really
Characters, man.
good. It's
Great.
just different than Aliens.
Right.
Is like just as good, but it's a different kind of movie. So.
Yeah.
Right. Paul Reiser plays such a stinker in this movie.
he does.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's great.
What's the company called that he works for? The
Wayland.
Wayland
yeah.
Enterprises or
Shit,
whatever.
nice.
Yeah.
You just
Like I
wanna-
remember, this is one of the movies that I had to go to my dad's house to watch because mom would let us watch it.
right.
And so I saw Aliens first. I never saw the first
Oh.
Alien.
Oh,
I had
wow.
to go back and watch it. So
Oh, wow.
but I thought it was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
those visual effects, the creatures,
Just-
man, it's suspenseful. It still holds up. It's really good.
There's two scenes that stick with me. Is when Newt is like under in that water sequence,
Sewer or
and and you
whatever.
see the alien's tail whip around and stand up, and then when Sigourney Weaver goes down, when Ripley goes down to the lair of the queen, and the queen
Oh,
is
it's
dropping
great.
the eggs,
yeah.
and she starts lighting the babies on fire.
Yep.
And it's like
Powerful visually.
great, just when it
That's so
disconnects from
epic,
the
man.
Oh man,
That
I wanna watch
score,
that movie.
James
Me
Horner
too.
did the score, which James Horner did Star Trek 2 score
Yep.
too. James Horner did the score to Aliens. The score is great in that movie, but
Yeah.
I remember that scene where she's in the hive.
oh yeah,
It's
Just
so
giving
good.
birth to all those
So-
eggs.
Yeah, there's like
Intense,
the bass
dude.
is like rumbling, like
Yeah.
the score is like a deep like bass sound. It's like, brrr, and it's just like ominous. Like you see like the silhouette of the queen, like kind of in
Right.
the shadows. Like
Like I know today it's more convenient and cheaper to do CGI, but go back and look at that movie. Those
Yep.
are practical
that's Stan
creatures.
Winston, right?
Like
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
like those are amazing makeup effects.
Yeah,
My scene is when
way
she's
more
in
convincing
the.
than CG.
My scene is
For
when she's
sure.
in the like the human like forklift thing,
Oh,
and
Get
they go
away
to the
from
airlock.
her, you
yeah,
bitch.
the airlock scene.
yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
I thought you were gonna say the scene the first time she's in it. It's kind of cheesy though.
Oh, no.
When they're like in front of like the sergeant and she gets in it, and then they're like looking at her, and she's like,
I just love that sound effect of
yeah, you can hear like the hydraulics and stuff.
Yeah,
which
I love
actually
that.
it reminds me of when they get in the suits in Avatar.
Avatar, I think,
Okay.
was kind of like
It felt like that
Yeah, it
that
was-
machine.
Yeah.
It's funny. It was James Cameron, but it was kind of
Yeah.
ripping his own
Right.
stuff off in a way.
Yep.
My other favorite scene is when Lance Henriksen as Bishop gets torn apart. It's like
I thought you were gonna
out of
say-
his
Yeah.
body. It's like all
my
that
God.
milk coming out of his mouth.
I thought you were going to say the scene where he, it's at the very
Oh, the
beginning.
knife.
Yeah, with,
That's pretty great.
Bill Paxton.
Oh, that's a good scene,
And he's like,
too.
Bill Paxton's face.
he's like, ah, it's great. And then he like
I
sort of
wonder,
nicked
I
himself
wonder
a
how many
little.
drunk
Yeah.
assholes have like cut off their fingers.
Oh,
because
totally.
Of
Oh,
that.
I'm sure.
Exactly,
Yeah.
fucking around.
Stab their friend.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, this is one of those movies where the sequel is more fun than the first one. Like we were
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
Return of the
Different type of
Jedi.
movie,
Right.
yeah.
We're talking about Terminator 2. It's
Yeah.
that same. That
It's a
same
lot to
feel.
live up to, and,
Yeah.
it definitely did it in a different way.
Yeah.
That twist helped it.
yeah.
It
This
made
is
it
also
so
one
much
of the
better.
few movies where I think for the most part, director's cuts, I always feel like they're not as, even though maybe it's what the director wanted.
Oh,
I don't always feel like they're
Newt-
the best version
Is
of
it
the
like
movie.
the Newt family backstory stuff?
There's that, and there's the scene they show at the very beginning when Ripley first wakes up. You find out that she actually had a daughter that was cut. Like it gave more
depth to the
yeah,
character.
it gave more character development to that character Ripley. I feel like there's scenes in the director's cut that really add to the story. So that's one of the few director's cuts I actually prefer over the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Usually it's the other way around. I usually like the theatrical cut better.
I couldn't tell you if I've watched either or. Like
T2's another one. I think I like the director's cut better.
Do you?
Yeah,
I don't
Those-
think
I think those scenes
What's the
add
difference
to
in the
it.
director's cut on T2?
There's a bunch of little
Really?
stuff.
I don't think I've seen that.
Me too. I haven't
I
seen.
don't ever.
I know I've watched it once, but
I think
I would have to go back.
I always stick to what I watched, and if there's like a director's cut or the uncut, I don't.
The one scene
See-
for sure in T2
That-
I can think of at the end when the T1000 is kind of like fucked up.
Yeah.
He's like they're in the lava, the
Yeah.
factory or whatever
Yeah.
where all the
The
steel's
molten
being made.
steel
Yeah.
or whatever.
He steps on like a grate and he's like glitching because he's fucked up.
He goes,
and his
"Ouch."
foot. No, his leg, his leg starts turning into the floor and he doesn't want it to,
Oh.
and he gets stuck and he's like trying to like.
I saw that part. Okay,
That's in
then
the
that's the one I've
director's
seen.
cut.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
like Brett said, like I want to see Dr. Sleep the director's cut because like Brett, it's like they usually just give like a line here or there, like something to like fill in the character or like something between two people.
Yeah.
It gives it a little more depth.
A little
or
more
something?
depth or
Okay.
yeah, like
I gotcha.
Real quick, going back to Aliens, we were talking about this one. I really am pissed off at Ridley Scott because they should have made the idea that they were going to make a direct sequel to Aliens, where it was going to be
Oh.
Ripley and
oh, you're
what,
talking about
Hicks?
the David Fincher part 3?
David
was he gonna? I thought Ridley Scott originally was
Oh
going to.
no,
do
it was Neil Blum.
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp or whatever
yeah.
his name is.
So Yes,
It
I
was
agree.
basically going to be Aliens 3, like the other one.
They were
never
bringing
happened.
back Hicks and Newt.
They never.
And then-
they never.
well, because
No, because
like Brett's.
Ridley Scott was like, "No, I want to make I want to make these prequels," and
Oh,
did
he- oh
Prometheus.
my
He
so
basically
God.
came in and jumped in and like cut that
killed
out.
the yeah. Dude, there's like they were doing makeup tests already. Like they were getting ready to start
His
shooting it.
sketches were amazing.
Wow.
They were cool.
Wow.
It was going to bring Sigourney Weaver back.
I think
like,
they-
she was
How
she
awful
was on board.
I thought
for
they
it.
did. They did test makeup footage
Did we go
with
see? I think we
Hicks.
all went and saw that movie.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
such a letdown,
Yeah,
man.
it was not good.
So I'm still pissed off at Ridley
Yeah,
Scott
I
for that.
agree.
Fuck Ridley Scott. No, I'm just.
That movie should have been called Prowequarius.
Yeah, fuck that movie.
86 Aliens was my number 2.
Good choice.
All right, Mr. Ted, number 2.
I'm gonna switch it up here a little bit.
Sweetie.
I'm gonna switch it up here a little bit. My number
Switch
2
it.
is
We
Sweet
switched
cheese?
it already. God damn it!
You got a Swiffer?
my number 2 is. Everybody knows that I'm a Karate Kid fan. So
yeah.
my number 2 is Karate
Oh.
Kid 2.
That was a glitch fart.
Pew.
Wait, what was
There's
it?
a glitch in the Matrix.
Karate Kid 2.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Good
so this
movie,
one
dude.
is directed by John G. Avildsen, who did the Rockies. He also did the first Karate Kid. Great score by Bill Conti. Amazing
Cosby.
cast. Bill Cosby does the
rapist.
composing. What? Made 115 million. Basically, Daniel LaRusso. He defeated Cobra Kai in the first movie. The second movie,
Kick that ass.
Mr. Miyagi has like a family emergency in Japan, and then he goes over with Mr. Miyagi, and then all hell breaks loose. You know, there's family drama, and there's villains and stuff like that.
Such a great movie.
Yeah, excellent movie. Amazing, like panoramic views of.
What year was that movie?
82. It was the summer of 82.
No, Karate
No
Kid 1
way.
was summer '84.
No way.
2 was summer
80,
'86.
86, probably.
I'm sorry,
Summer 86.
You're right, summer of 86.
Yeah,
Summer
one's
of
'84.
86.
yeah.
This one was really good because you got to see Mr. Miyagi's backstory.
Absolutely,
I
you
think
get to
that's
learn
why.
about like his
Yeah.
family and
Yeah.
like,
It
what's
added
going
more
on.
depth to his character. It was good.
Yep.
It was really good.
I
That was
am the
one of the. I think that was the first movie I actually got to go see in the movie theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Glory of
Oh,
Love.
nice.
Yeah, my older brother. The only way I could go was if my older brother would go with me,
Oh wow.
which was really weird. Man, he's like, "You're not going by yourself."
Yeah.
So we went to the mall. Anyway,
So there's a villain in it, Sato, which is Miyagi's like family.
Like
Yeah, he was like
Life?
brought into the family and trained by Miyagi's dad.
yeah.
So Miyagi's dad is dying, and also there's like the first like student of Sato who's like this evil like counterpart to Daniel-san. So he kind of
He's such a dick
He
in this
beats the
movie,
shit
too.
out of Daniel LaRusso like the whole movie.
he does, dude.
And there's a scene where Daniel's like falling in love for one of the village girls, Tamlin Tomita, and Chosen is the name of the other teenager villain. So she throws a tomato and hits him in the back, and he takes off his shirt and he says, "Here, keep this for your correction." It's awesome, an awesome scene. And actually, there's a YouTube video of that actor who plays Chosen. He's actually teaching like in a comedy group of like how to like do that scene. It's hilarious. You got to see it. It's so funny because both those actors are in it. It's Tamlin Tomita is in the comedy group, and also that Chosen guy.
Oh, that's funny.
What's his name?
How old
Yuji Okimoto.
is that YouTube video? Like recent?
It's
kinda?
recent.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I'll
super
check it
fun.
out.
Which Karate Kid has like the bad dude who looks like a young Steven Seagal, like with the ponytail and
I think
everything?
that's
That's
three.
three.
That's
Three.
three.
Yeah.
That's their 3. Okay.
Which is
Hey, man,
cringe, like super
this,
cringeworthy.
This movie has one of the best
He's pretending to be his
theme
friend,
songs
like
of
the
all
whole movie.
time. Man, Peter Cetera.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Glory
dude.
of Love.
Oh,
Glory
great
of
song.
Love,
Yep.
man.
That was a #1 hit that summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they up the stakes in this movie because, in the first movie he's fighting for, some honor and a trophy, but this one he's fighting for his life
And for love.
and for love.
Do you know that? Do you know that Glory of Love
Yep.
was nominated for an Oscar, but you know what it lost?
No.
Well, I know what it lost to. Berlin's "Take My Breath
That's
Away."
right.
Oh, wow.
Top Gun. That's right.
So that was the summer of Top Gun and
Yep.
Karate Kid.
And Aliens.
Those
Karate
were
Kid 2.
great years.
That,
man.
that was a great summer, actually.
It was.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Ferris
1986.
Bueller's Day Off was also that summer.
Nice.
Ferris Bueller was that. Wow, that's awesome. Good stuff.
Labyrinth.
I heard Cobra Kai. The show is awesome.
I have yet to watch that.
I hear it's great.
It's
now it's
great.
free,
You
right?
probably heard it from me. 'cause
Yeah,
I'm
don't
no,
have
not
that
I've
channel.
heard
sure.
that from people I work with. They
Yeah.
say it's great.
You don't
It's
have
actually
to pay
really
for
well
Red-
written.
YouTube Red anymore, though.
Yeah.
You can just watch it whenever
Where?
on YouTube.
Yeah, it's free now.
But before you had to pay, and you don't have to pay.
Yep.
anymore.
Oh shit! All right, I'll
So
be
you can watch
watching
Cobra
it.
Kai,
That's
like,
sweet.
all the
Watch it.
time.
But where can you watch it?
You son of a.
How long are the episodes? Like 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's 30-minute episodes. Really easy watch.
Is it in?
Yeah.
Is it in color?
That's actually one of the complaints of the fans is because
Is it in stereo?
it's a short season and they're short, like, timed episodes. So, you know, they always want more. It'd be better, I mean, if they were longer, but they're not. So
It might work
Is
better
it-
because
it's
it is
easy
shorter,
watch.
though.
Yeah. But the
Is
characters
Sweep
are
the leg
great.
in it? Is Sweep the leg in it?
Is Sweep the Leg
No,
in
it's
it?
sweep
Martin-
the eggs.
Martin Cove is in it, right?
It's RedTube.
Martin Cove is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the
That's a
mom-
spoiler.
The girl that played Daniel's mom, is she in?
She's not in it.
Because she's still alive, I think.
I think she's still around.
I don't
It's
think she
too bad
wanted to go with it.
Pat Morita's not around because
I
he
know.
would have been in it for sure.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They kind of
Is
like
Elizabeth
tease.
Shue in it?
I was just gonna ask that. She's not, right?
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
Is Dabney Coleman in it?
He's in it.
I'm in.
All right. Speaking of Dabney Coleman, Brett, number 2.
My number 2, I guess I'm copying again because it's already been mentioned. Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I thought he was having a stroke. I was like, oh, shit.
I was trying to say
Somebody look after Brett.
I was trying to say T2 and I was like, wait, I'll just say
He said,
Terminator 2.
is the chicken sandwiches coming to haunt him?
Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Yeah, this I mean, we've already talked about it a bunch. It's one of the ultimate sequels. It's almost basically like the perfect sequel and where it
It
just
is.
tops
Yeah.
the first one.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Times 100.
Yeah.
And it just has a lot of classic Arnold scenes, you know.
This was height of Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
This
for
was
sure.
I want to say it was at the end of his peak. Like right after this, he kind of started
Yeah.
declining. This was like
This was the
Did
pinnacle
Total
of
Recall
his-
and this were like right when he was still at the top, and then
Yeah.
right after it kind of went down. But God, this movie also was just. I remember when it came out that summer, everyone was like, "You gotta have you
Absolutely.
seen it?" Like,
Yep.
everyone was like, "Have you seen it yet?"
You
haven't. You gotta
made-
go see it.
Made plans around this movie. Like,
yeah, like I remember all
yeah.
my friends were like,
The trailer.
you gotta go see
was-
this."
If I remember correctly, was fucking awesome. It made you want to. You were like, I want to.
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect popcorn film.
100%.
Yes, for sure. I think the trailer for was them showing the factory making the Terminators, right? Yeah.
And then the semi going over into the wash.
yeah. Yep.
And you're like, oh fuck.
But I feel like this is a movie. It's rare, but I can't think of like really any like bad things to say about Terminator 2. Like it's pretty much flawless as an action movie. It's perfect. I think it's perfect.
Yep.
True Lies is really his only like big. I think. Like there were other movies after that, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, I like Last Action Hero, but to me, like Terminator 2 was the last huge where Arnold was like a huge draw. Like after that, his movies started.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Declining in like draw, like in terms of money and stuff. And
I mean,
he
when
was
it
still.
comes to acting like a robot, he's number 1.
Yeah. He's got that shit down, bro.
He was born to play that role.
By the way, speaking of Schwarzenegger, I was just this unrelated to Terminator 2, but you guys have to when you get a chance tonight, tomorrow, go on YouTube and type Streets of San Francisco. I think it's called Deadlift. It's an episode.
Was that
of
the
Streets-
Michael Douglas TV show?
Oh shit! My dad used to watch that.
yeah.
Michael
show.
Douglas is-
Michael
Yeah,
Douglas and
Michael
Carl
Douglas
Malden.
and
Was he a
Carl Malden.
guest?
It's like
It's called Deadlift. It's on YouTube. Just trust. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
Just trust me.
my dad used to love that
Yeah.
show, dude.
I loved it
swear
as
to
a
God.
kid. Yeah.
I used to watch it with him. I have no recollection of any episode, but I remember him specifically after
Always
the news
watching
watching that show.
Yeah.
and
It's a
we
good
were
show.
all in there watching it with.
It's
him.
in that same vein
I was
as
too
like
young to
Kojak.
remember any episode, but I remember that.
Yeah. Well,
You
look
know what's
up
on the
that
streets of San
episode.
Francisco now? Feces.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Oh God.
Homeless people shooting.
Literally
up.
shit. Yeah. So my number 2, that's Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Nice. George, number 2.
My number 2's already been mentioned by at least a few of you guys in here, and that's The Dark Knight. It's got everything and more. It's Heath Ledger, dude. Come on. What more do you want?
It's great.
Yeah.
I love the.
It was amazing.
Yeah, one of my favorites is the opening scene, the bank robbery scene.
Oh yeah.
That
Which
to
is
me is the fucking.
if you love Heat, which I do. It
Yeah.
was a total like nod to that
Yeah,
movie. Like
it was awesome, dude.
Oh,
They all
they're
have-
coming for us.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, Heat.
Sirens.
The clown masks that they're wearing. It's
yeah,
just-
and they keep like the next one keeps killing. Like it's all like planned by him, but you don't know it at
Yeah.
the time.
They
all
kept
killing
offing each
off.
other.
yeah. So there's no witnesses.
Yeah.
It's amazing, dude. And again, Heath Ledger, dude, killed it in that movie.
I just
It was so good.
You just reminded me. There's a scene in that movie, and I usually don't jump easily in movies at all. Like it could be a horror movie, and there's tons of jump scares, and I'm just like that. That there's a scene in that movie. It's when the mayor's looking out his office window. He's talking to like I think
Aaron
what's his
Eckhart?
name? No, Gary Oldman. I can't think of his name. Gordon. And he's just looking out the window, and then like this body just comes slamming into the window.
yeah.
That scene actually made me
pretty
jump
good.
in the
Yeah.
theater, and I never jump scare, and I was like, oh shit, not expecting that in that scene.
Great scene, dude. Yeah. So that is my number 2.
Nice. Well, before I get to my number 1, I should probably say that the first film sequel of all time is accredited to a movie called The Fall of a Nation. It was the sequel to a movie called The Birth of a Nation, and this was like 1915,
Yeah.
1916. So we've been having sequels for quite a long time. Most of them good, some of them bad. But this one really good because it's my number 1, and it's mentioned by Ted. I think it was Ted's number 3.
Oh,
I love both versions of this movie, but recently I watched the Richard Donner version, and I like that one more because I feel like there's a lot more storyline with his father and him, and there's a lot more, I feel like, scenes with the villains in it. It's Superman 2.
Yeah.
This movie's very nostalgic. I love this movie. I was a huge Superman fan as a kid. Not anymore, though. I mean, they've kind of shit all over that legacy. Although I did like Smallville, I entertained that for a few years, but I just feel like this movie is just so much fun, and it's the villains, hands down, in my opinion, some of the greatest villains of all time. They're so much fun. I love this movie.
They
Great
destroy
comic book movie.
so much.
Yeah, dude.
The Washington,
Yeah.
D.C.
General Zod.
Yeah, everything.
He's
Yeah.
such a
What were we gonna say, Billy?
Badass villain.
Yeah.
Neo before Zod,
Yeah.
baby.
I win,
Yep.
by the way.
Oh,
win.
yeah, you did win.
Oh.
Damn.
Billy copied you.
Good job, Ted.
Wow.
All right.
Winner,
All right, well, Brad, what's your number 1?
My number 1, actually, you guys might not have heard of before. It's a 1916 film called The Fall of a Nation. Okay.
You suck. Yes.
My number 1 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh.
James Cameron, 1991. Excellent. Love it. Holds up to the original, if not better. So what I was going to have you remind me earlier, I just watched Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh yeah.
To George's
Right.
point, yes, Edward Furlong is in it. Has anyone seen this? Probably not.
No.
Don't. I mean, what I would say is like Billy, I watched T2 probably a month ago. I bought that 4K Blu-ray.
Nice.
Beautiful. Great restoration scan. It holds up. It's
Yeah.
excellent. It looks great. It is great. It's a great film. And what Dark Fate does, anyone who's seen 1 or 2, it completely wipes away the storyline and mythology, and it pissed me off.
Wow.
Like it
You'll
changes
see.
it.
You'll see. I don't want to. I don't want to like give you any.
Is it
indication
involve
of-
time traveling?
Possibly, it is
Yeah.
Terminator.
Yeah.
But it's done within the first few minutes. So,
yeah, I don't like that.
Like, how
already.
much
Like,
of Eddie
that's just-
Furlong is in that sequel? You can tell me. I don't give a shit.
do you guys want to know?
We don't.
I thought I read he's only in one scene. Is that right?
Yeah, he's in like a minute's
Yeah.
worth, which is in the very beginning.
Okay.
Like it starts out cool.
I have a
like,
question.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. And within the first 3 minutes, I was like, okay, that's
Stinky.
changing things for sure. Which some people might love. I just saw what I relate it to is The Last Jedi. I didn't like the grumpy.
The hermit Luke. Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Neither did I.
So like that wasn't the Luke that I know, and this isn't the Terminator. I know what they're
Oh.
trying to do is to like use Linda Hamilton and Schwarzenegger to like get the older fans in, but then have this new generation of younger actors to like
Yeah.
expand
Yeah.
it to. It's almost like passing the torch, which for me, just stop.
It didn't work.
Just stop. Like I'll never see another one. Like I just stop.
Is this movie because I feel like this one probably should have been Terminator 3 instead of Rise of the Machines.
Yeah,
and
I mean-
this should have been made probably in like 1997.
Yeah, do it 20, 25 years
It
ago.
should have come out like 5 or 6 years after T2,
Right.
probably, and
Yeah.
it probably would have been a hit.
I mean, that's the sad thing is like Schwarzenegger isn't a box office draw. He's too old, like to play. Like how they utilize him and explain his version of the Terminator, like his,
Why he looks old or whatever.
it makes sense. Which they actually already explained in Genesis. Like
Yeah.
his skin ages to reflect a human, not the
Not the internal
right, not
robotics
the
of it.
robot.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of cool. Like it's kind of a cool
It kinda
idea
makes
to
sense.
explain it. Yeah. But
It's more like they did it
I
so
just-
he can blend in with people.
Yeah, it
kinda
makes
thing.
sense.
Yeah,
Like
it
it's
makes
cool.
sense.
It's a cool way to like explain
good
that.
concept.
But I don't know. I'm just like I didn't like it. I didn't
Wow.
like how like
What-
Schwarzenegger's great. It's actually he plays a character named Carl. And he's extremely funny. Like he's great. Schwarzenegger's great in it, and it's great seeing Linda Hamilton back. But like just how they changed the story, I did not like at all.
I feel like
I want to see it because now I'm interested. In
I
seeing
feel
how
like
they
also-
I
fuck
kind
it
of want to
up.
see it.
Yeah.
You should. I mean, if you're a Terminator fan, I've seen them all, but I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
I think I've seen them all
Do you
except
think-
the one with what's her face from Game of Thrones.
the Genesis.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
see
you
that
can skip
one.
that.
Okay.
Do you think when like movies are like this one we're talking about Dark Fate, do you think when they keep making sequels of like movies that were, originally the original ones were like,
Cast.
really good,
Oh yeah, right.
like T2 and the first one, do you think it like tarnishes the original ones for you a little bit? Like it kind of lessens them?
I just in my mind,
Like it ruins the legacy?
Yeah,
kinda?
that's what I mean. They like the story that you followed doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So like to me, I'm gonna think of T2 and the story ends there.
Yeah.
And like these
Yeah.
movies weren't ever made.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I kind of do it
It
myself.
doesn't. I mean, it doesn't tarnish your thoughts on those two because those two are the only good to me in
Yeah.
the series. Like there's cool stuff in some of the other sequels, but
Maybe it doesn't tarnish it for you. I meant like, do you worry that it tarnishes those movies for like another generation?
Oh.
Maybe
I don't know.
Like they're gonna
I
see
mean-
Dark Fate and be like, oh, I'm not gonna bother watching the
Yeah,
original
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
That's
I
what
mean,
I
if-
think
if-
that's why I don't like these.
if they
new
don't like
ones.
those, sure.
Yeah.
Because a younger audience is going to see that one first because it's got younger talent in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I don't like these like shitty sequels from like older movies. And the new Star Wars ones are the same way.
Right.
It sucks because like young kids may not want to watch the originals because they're going to watch these and be like,
Yeah.
But what's funny is a lot of the younger generation don't go back to watch. Dude, we know people that have never seen Goonies.
Right.
We know people that have never seen
That's true.
Ghostbusters. People that have never seen Halloween. Dude, I
have a
work
friend-
with
like a
people like
different-
this.
I have,
Man.
a,
You know.
I have a friend at work.
It's old movies.
She loves horror films. She's never seen Psycho.
what?
It's black and white.
That's her reasoning.
but she's
she-
seen all the
Is she
Annabelles.
No,
when I was 4, I didn't like to watch black
Right.
and white. But, I
But
grew
just
out of
little
it.
stuff like
I
that,
love
where it's
wa-
like,
I-
it's not bloody enough, or it's. I'm like,
grew up
This was
watching
like the
shit in
mother
black
of
and white.
slasher
My-
movies.
my-
Like you
my-
have to see this.
I feel like a horror movie doesn't even need to have blood to be scary.
No,
no, look
no.
at Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like there's not much blood.
The
in
Exorcist
Chainsaw.
doesn't really have much
No.
blood either.
I saw like a millennial
Neither does
Instagrammer
Psycho.
review.
Even really the original Halloween doesn't have all that
No,
much
no,
blood.
it doesn't.
I saw an Instagrammer review Taxi Driver recently.
Oh, no.
And she hated it. She thought it was boring.
Oh.
Well, those '70s films have a different pace, which
Yeah.
I enjoy.
I do too.
It's good
I love
character
that.
development.
Yeah.
You actually
What
give a
was
shit
the,
about the characters.
what was the year in Terminator 2 that like the world was supposed to blow up?
97.
Was it like
Yeah,
2019?
97.
That's
Oh,
why I
that's
think
funny.
they should have
What-
made Terminator 3 that year.
Yeah.
Like
It
that
was
would have
funny
been
when
perfect.
watching that again. I was like, oh shit, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Judgment
old.
Day.
Well, it's like Blade Runner. What year is it supposed to be? The original one? 2019.
2019, might, yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like last year.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, well that's Terminator 2. That's how many votes do we have for Terminator 2? Everybody
That's
said
like
it so far
3.
except for Ted.
It wasn't on mine.
That's right. Wasn't on my list.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. All right, Ted, number 1.
My number one
I know what Ted's number one
is,
is.
in my opinion, the best Star Wars film of all time. It's The Empire Strikes Back.
I thought you were going to say The Last
Hey-oh.
Jedi. No.
I thought you were gonna say Episode 1.
No, it's Empire.
yeah.
This movie was so dynamically better than any Star Wars movie. It's just overall a better movie. Just the what's going on in Luke's training to the metaphysical aspect of the Force, which once they started actually making the Force like measurable, it just ruined
Yeah.
what the Force was, which is supposed to be this kind of enigmatic thing that you have, you know, that is like a superpower basically.
Kind of
So-
can't be explained.
yeah, but he trains with Yoda, which is an amazing, you know, one of a kind character, which I loved, and everything of their escape. You know, the rebels are on the run, you know, from the get go to
Bounty hunters.
bounty hunters are, you know,
Hot.
tracking them all down, and
Farts in it. Great farts.
and,
Did you say Braveheart?
to Luke like facing his arch nemesis at the end, to the great twist ending
Also,
Which is
Darth Vader is his father.
Also,
There you go.
I was
Yeah.
going to say Empires. If you think about it in the first one, Darth Vader's not really the main villain. He kind of is at the end, but it's Tarkin is the main villain.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a sidekick.
Yeah.
This is Darth Vader's like movie. Like, you know, this is where he gets his own fleet and like his own Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
He's got his own, you know, the Imperial March is introduced in this one,
Yeah.
which everyone knows is Darth Vader's theme. Yeah, like Darth Vader. This is the movie Darth Vader became a badass.
Yeah.
Like,
Can I ask you a question? In Rogue One, you guys did, but I didn't. Like that Tarkin character, I didn't know that was a CGI character.
Yep.
oh, you thought it was like
And-
a guy in makeup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so was Princess Leia.
I
Yeah.
had no idea. Well, I didn't know that actor died, but I was like,
Yeah.
my brother-in-law leaned over. He's like, "Hey, you know that guy's dead, right?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "That looks
looked
amazing.
pretty
Like,
bad.
it looked
was
really,
pretty,
really good."
They did a good job. On
Yeah, I thought that was tasteful.
Yeah.
So I have fond memories of seeing this movie with my cousin and my brother in a giant, like, old movie theater in Times Square called Lowe's Astor Plaza. It's not there anymore. But what I remember is that it was gigantic. I saw this when I was 9, so probably anything would have been gigantic. But it felt like an old school theater with kind of like these, like, wraparound screen almost. It felt like this is my memories from 40 plus
Like
years ago.
Circorama.
Yeah.
It might have been designed for that.
Yeah,
in the
so-
60s probably.
It was really cool, and like they had, I think, one middle aisle, to walk down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like old school.
I love
Old
theaters
school
So
like
theater.
that.
it was great. I remember being so excited seeing the trailer for this movie since I was already a Star Wars fan, and just the scene where the doors open and Vader's at this like dining table, and
Oh,
Han
yeah.
pulls his blaster out and fires, and Vader blocks it with his hand. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be awesome. So I was super excited, and it exceeded my expectations. The movie was amazing. Still one of my favorite movies of all time. So,
Yeah.
yep, love that. The Empire
Great
Strikes
flick, man. Nothing else can be said. Great one. Brett, number 1.
My number 1 has already been mentioned. Ted just mentioned it. I can't really build it up at all. Empire Strikes Back. I think this is also one of those sequels where the movie moves along, the story moves, but then at the end, like you're left with like a total cliffhanger. Like you don't
Total.
You have to. Now we know what the outcome was because Jedi came out. But like the first time you see Empire, you're like, is Han dead? Like what's going? Like Han is the main, like one of the main characters is like, you don't know what's going to happen to him, and it just the movie ends when you want to keep on going, and it just cuts you off, and like it makes you want to watch the next one, which ended up being Return of the Jedi. But it's like a cliffhanger ending where it's just it really worked well. A lot of sequels don't do that, but this one did it, and it did it well. It left you with that cliffhanger ending where you're like, I got to see the next one. Like I want to know what's like. If it came out today, you'd be like, I want the next one to come out next summer. Like I don't want to wait 3 years for the next Return of the Jedi. But
Luke gets his hand sliced off with his lightsaber. He loses the lightsaber, and he jumps, 1,000 feet or whatever to what you think could have been his death, but he escapes. It's just an amazing ending to that movie.
The Empire Strikes Back also had the Hoth sequence. I remember as a little kid seeing this in the theater. I saw it when it got re-released in 1982, I believe. So I didn't see the original release, but the Wampa, which is the ice creature in Hoth, basically is it's going to eat Luke. That scene was just so. I remember in the theater, like it scared me, but it also just made me like love the movie. I was just like, this is awesome. And also the bounty hunters. I loved the bounty hunters as a kid. All of them. Bosk, Boba Fett, IG-88. They were all.
I want to know.
That's
I want to
right.
know.
Oh, I totally forgot they were in that movie.
I
That's
wanted
right.
to know like everyone's backstories. Like, oh my god,
and
this
I
guy
had
looks
to
like
have
a
all the
badass.
action figures. Like I had to have all those
Yep.
action figures. Like it was like, and then also the score to this movie was great.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. And
I
then
hope our listeners are still asleep. I mean, wait.
so Empire Strikes Back. That's my number
Nice.
1 pick.
Nice. George, number 1.
My number 1 is I wouldn't say it's somewhat of a sequel, but more of a continuation, kind of.
Okay.
And it happens to be, like, to me, one of the first sequels that I saw as a kid. And it's Dawn of the Dead.
Oh.
Give that tagline.
What was the tagline?
It's right there. When there's no more room in hell,
Down, 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 down.
the dead will walk the earth. Is
That's
that
it?
Yeah.
That's it. Yes. Yeah, dude. So to me, as a kid, dude, watching this movie was just unfucking real, dude. And watching it now, though, when you look back at it, I tried to go watch it a couple weeks ago or a week ago to go see it, and it was just so bad.
Dated, very
Bad.
dated.
And like
Okay.
the makeup is like the zombies. It's all it is just like gray makeup on
Yeah,
their face.
gray makeup.
That's
Yeah.
it. But as a
they're
kid-
not like they're just turning.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you
but
what, that
helicopter
helicopter
scene
blade
makes it worth
just-
it.
But you
right?
can tell that dude's head's a little too big.
Yeah.
Like that's when you're a kid. Like that's an awesome effect.
was,
It
right?
chops his
I
head.
was just you took the words right out of my mouth.
This is an
Lock it
amazing
off.
sequel. I understand. This is my brother's like favorite movie of all time.
Dude, I remember watching this and just being, as a kid, being blown away. Because me and my older brother my older brother had a small TV, like a little color tube
Yeah.
TV in his room. And at night, we'd turn it, like Friday nights would be like the horror, it'd be Elvira. What was it?
Yeah.
Elvira,
we would
yeah.
watch that shit, dude.
Yes.
Everyone would go to sleep, and then my brother would be like, hey, we're going to go watch the movie.
Yeah.
So we'd go turn it on and very quietly. And watching this movie at like 10 o'clock at night, like on a Friday night, was unfucking real, man.
The opening scene is pretty awesome because they really
yes.
give you
the TV
Yes.
station.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
the
at
TV
the TV
station.
station, and then they're trying to get out, and they end up like taking the helicopter and going
Yeah.
to the mall. And
Yeah.
I guess it was like the two SWAT people
Yeah.
hitched the ride with them, and they were like, "All right, let's fucking go."
It's amazing.
It's
like
crazy, dude.
they give you a sense of like
Savini's effects. There's
Turmoil,
dude, that,
you know?
that knife to the head
yeah.
is amazing. They did that again in Walking Dead as like
An homage to it,
to
yeah.
Tom Savini. I still remember when I saw this when I was younger, and the scene when Roger. The cool thing about this movie, it's like you have time to like let the characters breathe. Like
Yeah.
it's a little too long in parts. Like I even
Right.
think the opening is a little too
It
long.
is too long.
Like the remake actually did it better, where they got to the
With
mall
Ving
quicker.
Rhames.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think it takes
Edited
them
time.
20 minutes
Yeah.
to get to the mall
In
in
the-
the
in the-
76 version.
Yeah.
Yeah. and
Which
the
is-
To me,
Romero
that builds
version.
more
is long.
suspense, though. Like I loved watching that, and again, I tried watching it a week ago. To me, you're right about that. It feels a little long, but that's like how we live now. Everything you want everything like to get
Now.
there
Instant
fast
gratification.
now. Like
Well, what I was gonna say is like I feel like the Romero version. The cool thing was like you got to like learn these characters and
Yep.
see like how they
Yeah.
would live within this new world, and like
It was cool.
Yeah,
It
like whatever their
was,
stores.
dude.
So like you cared about those characters. And there's a scene when the Roger character, when he changes, dude, I remember like my heart sunk. Like it's
Yeah,
like I felt it
dude.
in
Yeah.
my chest when they lower that sheet off his face, and it's
Yeah.
like that gray sunken in face.
Yes.
Because you don't
That's
want him to
scared-
turn.
No,
No.
like it just
And he
like
does.
it scared the crap out
Yeah.
of me.
It does. Yeah.
Can
His
you
old, like,
imagine being a
wrinkled
kid and
zombie
watching that,
face?
and I'm just like, oh fuck, dude, it was unreal, man.
Yeah. It was. Well,
I've never seen this
past that-
movie.
You never seen
you
Dawn
have
of the
to-
Dead?
Nope.
I would
Really?
say
Wow.
watch it.
Fast
dude, but
forward
it's
through
just-
the first
it's just
20
so-
minutes.
It's just so dated that
Yeah.
you probably won't. I don't know. You probably like it though, dude. You come from the school where you sit and watch Godfather too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's some fun stuff in it,
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
yeah.
but you get a real
I
sense
mean,
of like
and it's
doomsday.
like I don't
love
know,
it.
like Night of the Living Dead was a social commentary. This
Yes.
definitely like has social commentary of that time as
Yep.
well.
Yeah, and I remember the first one watching that. I also watched that when I was a kid, and just knowing that this was like I wouldn't say like a sequel, but more of like a continuation, or like it has some ties with it. It
Yeah.
just blew me away as a kid. Like, no way.
Yeah.
It felt more real. It wasn't like it felt like a movie. You know when you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time?
Yeah, it feels like a documentary.
It feels like a
almost.
fucking documentary. You're like, dude,
Yeah.
this probably happened. Like,
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that for me. Like in my head, my 9-year-old head thinking, oh,
You thought it was real, or
yeah,
it
like,
did
it's
happen.
like,
Maybe.
Holy shit! Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, it didn't register in my head that it was a movie. It was like a continuation of the first one. When my brother told me that, I was just like, what the fuck?
Do you guys remember the scene when this guy gets off? Just like the visual of like when this guy gets off the elevator. It's like
Oh,
his
yeah.
bloody
Yeah.
white shirt and his head cocked to the side. Such a cool.
But you again,
Visual,
the,
right?
Yeah.
the effects back then, it was all practical makeup,
Yeah,
and it was just
right.
and it just looked real. Like,
Yeah.
damn, that shit probably happened.
Let's go to honorable mentions. Movies that were already said: Aliens, Back to the Future 2, Halloween 2, The Wrath of Khan, Evil Dead 2. I also really like The Temple of Doom,
Yes.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, Nightmare on Elm Street number 3, Die Hard number 3, Empire Strikes Back. That was already said. I like the Matt Damon Bourne Supremacy movies.
That's definitely
I
on
like
my list.
the.
Yep.
I love the Before Sunrise trilogy. I love those movies. 10 Cloverfield Lane was really good.
Yes.
It was good.
Halloween 3 was mentioned. I love Young Guns 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Dude,
about
I
that.
totally forgot about that. Probably would have made my list.
Best
Damn.
It's a good
buck
flick.
80 I ever spent. What's he say?
Fletch Lives. I think it's funny. The Bride of Frankenstein. Rambo.
my
That would
God.
be the second movie. I love the Naked Guns. I think they're funny. I love the brand new Planet of the Apes movies. I think they're all really good, except the last one wasn't that great. Rocky
The old
IV,
ones are good.
Like Rocky IV. Mad Max, The Road Warrior, Christmas
Good one.
Vacation. I like the Mission Impossible movies. I think they're all really good. Return to Oz. Freaky,
I
weird.
need to
good
go
movie.
back and watch that.
What was
I used to
Richard?
love that as a kid.
Which one? Was that?
I
Bruiser
really
Bach.
like I really like Batman Forever. I think it's a good movie. Sorry.
Really?
And two movies that almost made my list. Color of Money is a really good movie.
Which one?
That's actually good.
Technically,
Yes.
Technically, Silence of the Lambs is a sequel.
It is, man.
Yeah, I guess in a way. So
Well, it's because they made what
Manhunter.
The, yeah,
Manhunter. Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
remade it Red Dragon.
Yeah, that's mine. Brad.
I think you covered everything.
Yeah.
Damn,
The history of sequels.
There's our list right there. Thanks, Billy.
This actually was originally my number 5, and I changed it because I saw Dr. Sleep. Psycho 2 is actually way better than it should have been. 1983.
I used to watch that when I
Oh,
was a
shit.
kid.
Yeah,
Right.
it's an interesting play on like, is Mrs. Bates still alive? Was it all in his head? Have you seen this?
I remember that.
Go
Yeah.
back. There's an excellent shovel scene at the end.
I haven't
you've seen
it.
this?
I saw it a lot as
Okay.
a kid, but I haven't seen
Yeah.
it probably in like 15, 20
Yeah, like,
probably 20 years.
It's it holds up.
Is there
watched
a scene with like a freezer?
I gotta watch
in
it.
this
Yes,
one?
yes.
The refrigerator or whatever. Isn't there a body in the fridge?
Yeah,
in one scene?
he keeps it on ice, or is that the?
no,
is
I think that's 3.
that's
Is that
the
3?
one with
Maybe that's he like works in a he gets released from the like psychiatric ward. He's like working in a diner and he starts getting notes from his mother. He starts hearing his mother
Yeah.
talk. So you're like, oh, like who are killing these people?
I know.
That's it.
Is
It's
it
Anthony
really him?
Perkins.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
The
Vera
third
Miles,
one
I
was
think, was into.
the third one was wasn't it?
No, it's Anthony Perkins.
Was it Anthony Perkins?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's in
all 4.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a TV.
Fuck,
yeah.
They did a TV before.
God damn.
Yeah.
Right before he died.
Yeah.
And he's like a radio host,
in 4.
talk show host on the radio. Yeah, in 4.
I gotta go back and watch that.
Like 4 is weird.
Yeah,
like,
me
they
too.
do a
I didn't know there
twist
was a
on it.
3 and 4.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
3 I
just got
remember like
schooled. All right.
watching a lot.
So this was directed by Richard Franklin, who did one of my other favorite sequels, FX2.
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
The two
Good
Bryans. Love that. Christmas Vacation, Elm Street 3, Halloween 3, The Dark Knight, Angry Birds 2.
Oh God.
Angry farts.
Angry Birds 2. Grumpier Old Men. Dude, I love Angry Birds 2.
Never seen it.
It's funny. Grumpier Old Men, Empire Strikes Back, Naked Gun, great title. 2.5, The Smell of Fear, Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult.
I love this.
Oh, it's great. Exorcist 3, Texas Chainsaw 2, which was hard to leave out. Phantasm 2. Phantasm 2, Death Wish 2, and 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Nice.
And the Mission Impossible
10.
movies, like Billy said, are good.
I think you guys covered pretty much everything, but I did not hear Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Billy said that.
Billy said it.
Oh darn it! And Lord of the Rings: Two Towers.
No one mentioned.
It's a lot of walking.
No one
in
saw that.
I think that's it. That's my honorables. Everybody
I
covered
have
everything
a
else.
few that no one's mentioned yet. Patriot Games, which was a sequel to Hunt for Red October. Goldfinger, Thunderball, You Only Live Twice, the James Bond sequels.
You could hear a pin drop.
Yeah, Army of Darkness. Did anyone mention that one? Thor
no.
Ragnarok. Die Hard 2. No one mentioned Die Hard 2.
Oh, yeah, Die Hard 2.
I love Die Hard 2. Star Trek 6, I mentioned that earlier. Logan, X2, X-Men United. Hellboy 2,
good.
The Golden Army. I think it was better than the original one. Let's see. Revenge of the Sith. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. X-Men Days of Future Past. Toy Story 3. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Batman Returns. I don't think anyone mentioned that one yet. And Spider-Man 2. And The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Those are all my honorable mentions.
No X-Men 3.
No. And I had a bunch more. You guys already mentioned them all.
Did anybody mention Troll 2?
Best worst coming up.
George, honorable mentions?
I think you guys pretty much said them all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, everything's covered.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
left the indie ones out. I'm going to add those onto mine. Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
The Indiana Jones. Toy Story 2. Anybody? No?
Yeah. I said
No,
3.
hey, it's
I
good.
love 3. 3's
I like 2.
Just wait till you see Angry Birds 2.
All right.
Put it on my list.
It's funny.
Right next to Wrath of Khan. I'll put it on my list.
You got to watch it.
I will.
Well, guys, I think we pretty much nailed all the sequels. You think we did a good job?
I think so.
Yeah. I think we covered
We
it.
don't need to do. We don't need to do another one, do we?
We have to do our worst sequels at some point, though. I think
Oh,
That's
okay.
the
All right,
sequel
well,
to this podcast.
That's right. There you go.
worst.
I guess we'll
podcast
just
sequel.
have to wait and see.
cool.
Thanks for listening to the 5 Dudes with Views podcast. Be sure to download, rate, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Libsyn, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and now YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at 5 Dudes Views. Be sure to leave feedback and let us know about future podcasts you would like us to cover.